and welcome to Tales from the Tumble Tankard. I am Jim, aka Argent Wind, and I am your dungeon master for Avress, the Shattered World. Here from a slightly different location. We are having a little bit of change of scenery for the moment, for me at least. But hopefully we'll be back up and running where we normally are soon. But we are also down one Elney. He is doing some family stuff here, so we wish him the best and hope all goes well. We'll look forward to seeing him back again soon. So no Eldon with us, so we're going to be um, um carrying on without Eldon, but there's a good reason for that. We'll see it in game here in a minute. So anyway, with that, the party managed to get through the tomb of the runesmith king, Ambros Khol, the from centuries old tomb that was a rune master, a master of runic magic and such. And as the party delves through the tomb there, dodging traps, figuring out puzzles, and eventually getting into the actual uh, burial place of the king himself. Um, the entire room inscribed with runes and stories of pictures and images of using runic magics in various ways. The party was able to gather quite a lot of information and even pick up a strange little carpet that Amethyst smuggled out with her as they left the place. Um, Yes, yes. Don't tell anybody. Not supposed to take not supposed to take anything from the tomb, but the carpet seemed to want to go. Well, it's not considered a flying carpet. It's more of a levitating carpet at this point here. So that may change in the future as Amethyst figures out how to work it there. But this thing is who knows how old. Um, so it's a matter of figuring out how to make it work essentially down the road. With that, though, the party was able to get out of the tomb itself, getting back on Serenity, their airship, uh, and and avoiding any encounter with the nearby sleeping black drakes. And they were able to take off and start on their route, on their flight down south the um, along the left fork of the Erie Mountains on the border of Coppervale, and continue their journey. So, Uh, what is it? So I will leave it up to you as the ship is taking off into the sky. Is there anything you want to plan on doing on the trip? Oh, while you think that over there,
Mhm.
Eldon pretty much disappears. He has his notes with him. He's got all those things here, and he just disappears into his quarters, into his workshop area there, and is just buried his nose into his notes to start delving into the mysteries of the runic magics he's uncovered and unlocked.
I
Um,
look at Lucas and I'm going to ask him, he's not going to blow us out of the sky, is he?
I hope not. Possibly.
uh, cat Captain nearby there, Sterosh. You better not. We're going to have a bit of a problem if he causes any more damage. Um,
Nice
and
enough fella, but he's scary.
but he does make the ship go very well. I appreciate that. Um, he um, so with that, they let you know that yes, they were able to kind of put the ship out of sight of the area there and give it a little bit of time to recharge a bit. They should, according to Audrey and the rest of the ship's crew, things seem to be intact and able to move on. Um, One thing, Sora, at various times over the next day, especially, um, Eldon excitedly comes up to you to talk to you about some of the applications of the runic magic that he's unlocked and how it could really help you with your fighting and do all kinds of things to make your more powerful and more fearsome and such. And so he definitely has some ideas for how to help you with some things over the course of the rest of the trip. It's not going to be something that you can figure out quickly, but it is something that there are some interesting applications there that may help you out in the future.
Then I'll probably be training and learning stuff.
Yeah, yeah. As you go, there's not a lot of room on the deck of the ship to really do a whole lot, for the most part, but there is the possibility to be able to at least work on maneuvering and work on just some basic combat techniques and such.
Hmm.
Uh, Amethyst. At
Mhm.
one point, when you're finally kind of when the ship is kind of on its way, settling in, you will kind of feel a bit of a brush of something against your leg and see Bert kind of walking by you, and just kind of sitting down. He kind of like sits down, just kind of plops down next to it, and kind of looks up at you. Um, I believe we have had a bit of maybe a misunderstanding of sorts.
You'd think.
Well, not many people expect a talking cat or a telepathic cat, as the case may be. I tend to keep myself out of the out of suspicion and such.
But the times that I've sat and talked to you and told you my innermost feelings and thoughts, and didn't actually realize that you were able to comprehend, let alone, communicate back to me. So you could have let that be known at least before you let me share my deepest, darkest thoughts.
Well, as I have observed with you recently, you tend to like to share with anyone who'll listen on some of the subjects you talked of.
Not all of them.
Well, understandable, but understand, I, I allow people to consider me a unthinking beast because it does offer up opportunities, and um, most people are under the assumption that I am Hogarth's pet, when it is actually quite the opposite. He is my pet. Amethyst, I am what can be referred to as a person.
A person. Very good.
Well, there are not a lot of my kind out there. We all originated with one Percival Porkash, a very learned and powerful wizard, as I'm led to believe, um, but was transformed into a cat and was able to retain his ability to, uh, his cognitive abilities and such. And even when, even it is said, some of his magical abilities as well. And so he saw no reason to change his uh, situation. And well, what was most fascinating is the fact that this change was such that it could be passed on to his children, and he had quite a number of them. Not everyone, but a small but not insignificant percentage.
Okay,
I
that's
don't know how
interesting.
many generations removed I am exactly, but I do know that I can trace myself back to him and specifically. I don't have
And
the magical abilities that he is reported to have had, but I am able to communicate and, well, with Hogarth, find a way to be useful in a way that's less than, well, animal like.
mhm, I'd never considered telepathy to be genetic. That's interesting.
I don't know exactly. There may be. some that it does transfer, but I don't. You are the first person I've met of your kind that also shares telepathic abilities.
Mm. Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know
y'all
any
are
others.
related.
I don't think we're related.
Not likely.
Maybe distantly,
I don't know. I see a family resemblance.
in the same way that Grimoire's related to gorillas.
Or
Oh,
rocks.
dear.
Or rocks, yeah, or both. Maybe a combination.
Yeah, I resemble that remark.
um, yeah, what you know is that tabaxi are a native species of this continent. So,
No, I just
yeah.
I shouldn't
Mhm.
have said nothing. I'm sorry.
No,
I just
it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Um,
Well, for
yeah,
what it's worth, Bert, if that even is your name,
it will
I
pass.
I appreciate your I won't say apology because it's clearly not that, but your explanation.
Yeah. When would you know a cat to ever apologize? Come on.
No, absolutely. And clean slate. Just please, whatever I've said stays between us.
Of course, I don't tell anyone anything unless it is necessary.
Okay, good.
I mean, I don't know that. I'm not sure that Hogarth really understands that I can speak.
Really?
I mean, he doesn't really respond. It's he sort of does what I tell him, but not really in a way that's a two-way communication. I guess you would call it. I don't know.
Well, the first time I spoke to him telepathically, he didn't even flinch. Like most people are like, "Whoa, what happened?" But he
That's
didn't
more
even.
Hogarth's um, personality.
Okay,
Uh, nothing, nothing really makes him flinch.
right. Okay, interesting.
Part of the
Might have to
reason why,
test that theory.
yeah, you've never seen him get rattled by anything.
No, no, he's pretty
Wow.
chill.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting.
Um, over the course, unless there's anything else has to say there, over the course of the next, um, probably 2 days, you know that, according to Hogarth, navigation there, it's going to take about a week to get down to Dreadmire, which will put you about maybe 4 or 5 days ahead of schedule, um, based on the timing of getting here and getting down to there. You should have, um, barring any delays, um, should have at least be able to get there a little bit early. In fact, uh, so there was sort of the plan was to have a little bit of extra time based on as few stops as possible and everything else. So yeah. Uh,
While I'm talking with Bert, can I show him the carpet?
I mean, I assume you have it with you. It's not hard to.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to like get him on it basically and see if he can do
I
anything with it.
mean, do you really want to put a cat on a carpet and see what happens?
Yeah, I'll close the door though.
I mean, to cry out like,
Oh, he's
oh,
okay.
is this for me? All right, thank you very much. It's kind of like trying to sharpen his claws a bit on the carpet there. It doesn't actually do anything because it is a magical carpet that's at least a couple centuries or years old.
Yeah.
um, but um, and he doesn't seem to have any insights into it exactly.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna get on there and start like levitating on it then and see what he does.
sure. As soon as you get on there, he sort of like kind of hops off there and kind of looks at there and looks a little bit offended at first there and just sits there and kind of giving himself a bath, just watching you and yeah.
All right. Next.
Okay. Um, anything else anyone has plans or looking into? I know there's potentially some messages that might need to be sent, or check in with people or anything else.
Is anybody up in a crow's nest?
Probably not. The only person that might go up there occasionally just to drop in there would be Manuel, the top man. He'll kind of stop up there as he's kind of keeping an eye on things. Eisner doesn't actually spend time up in the crow's nest because he doesn't have to.
I like it up there, so I'll go up there.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. Like I said, for the most part, I mean, you'll notice that occasionally, at least a couple times a day, at various time periods there, Manuel, the guy, the only human on the crew actually, will actually kind of bounding up if along the mast and along the riggings and everything else there, just
Checking
checking
the
all the
gears.
fittings, checking everything
Right.
else, making sure everything's working right, making minor adjustments here and there when needs to be done, and just keeping tabs on things. With you being up there, he'll kind of pop like just kind of jump, and he literally just like he's just leaping through the riggings even though you're hundreds of feet up in the air. Doesn't seem to have a care in the world. He just leaps up there, lands on the edge of the crow's nest, kind of holding onto it, and says, "Ah, that's good to see you. Well, are you enjoying the view? Hopefully
Yep.
no storms coming in.
Yeah.
All right then. Good,
I
good.
got some of that. I still have some of that. That small keg of ale, right?
Sure.
I'll share it with him.
No,
What was
then
made?
I
Wasn't it smoking made?
Hmm.
ale or
Oh,
mead,
it was.
whatever. I think it was. Yeah. I think he had like a couple bottles on me, but then a small keg of ale. Um, so I appreciate it very much. It is good to have a drink to tend to wet my whistle and such, as it is very thirsty work as leaping around and such. I appreciate the company too.
Hmm.
Um, this is are you from this land? He kind of points out. Actually, as the ship is heading south, there it would be off to the port side.
North to the
Um,
left, yeah.
yeah. So, um, are you from? This is are you from this land over here? Here.
And I'll point to the northeast a little bit, and I said somewhere
Mhm.
around that area, yeah.
Yeah. Um, oh, good.
I'm from
Um,
Copperville,
I mean, I know this is the expanse of it here. I know
or
we are following
well,
the
what's
border.
the capital city?
It'd be Dumati, and you're kind of heading that direction. So
Yeah,
let's just switch over to that view real quick here to kind of plot our route here.
yeah, the
Um,
capital.
so effectively, you are kind of whoops, too far north. Effectively, you are right about here at this point.
Yeah, and I'm from
Very
here.
Yep, exactly. That's the
Okay.
capital city of Coppervale right there.
Yeah.
Um, and you do know that there are a number of smaller like settlements along the border between this spot up here and all the way down where Dumati is itself.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, these mountains are very rich with less with gold and silver and such. Uh,
Copper.
Copper definitely, but uh, what it's most known for, especially on this side of the mountains, there are gems. A lot of the gem trade that comes that's used, especially in Manatech, there comes from these mountains.
Okay.
Um, and as you're up in the crow's nest there, and kind of speaking with Manuel, um, you'll notice you kind of feel a bit of a, a, a lurch, not quite a like the ship kind of shuddering. It's like sort of kind of almost like a as the ship sort of like dips a little bit and the speed shifts a little bit as well.
I'll
And
pop my head up over the crow's nest and look.
that's not good. And wherever you guys are on the deck of the ship or anything else of that sort, assuming you're probably up there training there, you definitely feel a shift, and less that the wind shifted and more that the ship itself sort of moved. You don't
I'll
feel like
say
you kind of
something to the
pushed
effect of
or
what has he done now?
um uh at Ale at the control, she's just like kind of like fighting things like this isn't I don't like this, Captain. I think we got a problem here. Something's wrong with the power. Something's wrong. Nope, nope, this isn't good. Captain just calls out what is happening? What are we doing? And then pauses for a moment there and um, uh, kind of running up on the deck there. Audrey comes running up on deck there. Says, "I checking on it right now. I think well, Eldon's passed out right now, but I think there's a problem with the primary accumulator. I don't know what's happening with it. It's not drawing my amount of power or something. I'm figuring it out now. Just give me a minute." Um, and as she kind of runs back down there, the ship is slowly descending. Like, and you see Ale is just kind of like fiddling with the controls there. Like, I don't like this. Not the way it's supposed to work. Come on, come on. And she's kind of like this. And at this point, the ship's almost going to do this like do, do, as it's like almost like dropping for a few feet and then stopping and then dropping a little more and stopping and like it's trying to hold its elevation but not quite doing it. Um, as you
Wow.
asked, yeah. Captain's like, we better not. I agree. This better not be a crash. No, we've got this. I can handle this. And um, effectively, she says, we're gonna ride this one out, and you all feel sort of a you. She there's a pause for a moment. Then I need everyone to kind of hold on for a minute. Don't just strap in or get below deck, something like that. Just for a minute. As
Oh, good Lord, look where I'm at.
I know, yeah.
Just get underneath.
You for just a moment, you sort of have this dip sensation as
Oh, I get this weightless
yeah,
feeling.
you're not like lifting away from the deck, but there's just like it's no like you grab onto the sides because you just feel like you're floating. Like there's like no like you're not falling per se, but you're definitely not like holding, and you just kind of see the whole like horizon sort of like shift as the ships are kind of almost floating like side to side, not like quite like a feather where it's kind of like, but it is definitely edging downward, um, to a point where you can actually see the ground over the kind of the front of the ship there as it's moving, as it's kind of just enough of an angle you can see that she's heading toward the ground there. Um, for maybe about 50, 100 feet, then the whole ship sort of like leans back, and you kind of feel yourself kind of being pulled back. Um, and it's you'll realize, and Manuel, who's at this point kind of grabbed on as well because he's like, well, I'm not going to try to jump off this here. He's like, oh, that is insane. And you look, the sails are completely full. They're just, and it's like they're just using the sails almost like a parachute as the ship is going down at an odd angle.
Well,
As the wind is,
I'll finish my drink.
yeah, you're just like, whoa.
Might as well. We're gonna die.
Um, and the ship sort of does this almost like it's banking downward toward the ground, and it's like, okay, um, and you just see anyone else up on deck there. The captain is kind of white knuckling it up on the secondary mast there, near where the helm is, and just holding on. He kind of looking over his shoulder at her, looking back at the ground. He's like, okay, better hope this works. And you just see her like slam the controls and shift everything, and the ship sort of does this thing where it just goes. It levels out for a second, and then has just enough power to levitate to the ground and come down with a very amazingly smooth landing. No crash, nothing else. Um, like, well, I can honestly say that was not my fault at all. Nope, nope. That was something else going on here. Control stopped working. Elevation. The flight plates aren't enough to keep it in the air when there's no lift. So, like, We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Everyone okay? Everyone. No one overboard. No anything else. Looks up at the crew. You Grimbar and Manuel. At this point, sort of like prying his fingers off the edge of the. He's like, eh, eh, oh, okay, all right then. And he just like in the deck
I'd
for
puke.
yeah. I'm not cleaning it up, and he like bounds away and lands on the deck there. Okay. So
Hmm.
that being the situation, what are you going to do?
Firstly,
I'm gonna
firstly, to
grab
use
my
patience.
I'm gonna grab my keg and come out of the crow's nest.
Not a problem. You at
And
this
then I'm
point,
gonna get off of the ship, and then I'm
yeah,
gonna sit on the ground and start drinking.
okay. Most of the crew has come up as well. They're sort of like all kind of standing around, going, like, what happened? Audrey's like, so, well, I've heard of this situation. Haven't seen it in action, but sometimes accumulators that are well put to a very high amount of use can suddenly crack, and you basically see um, the main accumulator for the lift plates there for the levitation array. It the gem completely cracked. It's not holding a charge. We need a gem, and she's like,
What's,
and she goes, we need a gem, like
what sort of a gem?
anything really that's at least this size. It can be rough cut, doesn't need to be faceted. That's part of what we do when we put this together here. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be a good size, and basically holds up in her hands would be about the size of like a baseball or so. Um, More than likely the um probably what's going to be best is something like a garnet. It's got the right kind of hardness. It's not too expensive, but it should do for this. Um, Eldon's sort of like rubbing his eyes. Yes, yes. Yeah, we'll need. Yes. We'll need some sort of a replacement gem. We can definitely cut it and get it into place. And but yes, this will not quite. This is the problem. Yes.
What size are those gems that Sora has?
Um,
Are
those are
any of those?
roughly. Yeah, they're kind
Um,
of like all. Yeah,
I didn't have like the size of gems were not very big. They were just normal like 100, 300 size gems.
yeah. Um, they're more about the cut than they are the size. And
Right.
they're roughly about like maybe a couple inches long, about an inch wide. Kind of this long spindle cut.
I was just wondering if they would do temporarily until we can get somewhere where there are, gems. But
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but I don't know that that's gonna. Um, I don't know that would actually do the trick.
do we have any? Does Elton have diamonds or anything like that on it?
I have small ones for personal use. I mean, for Manatech items, but for ship size, I don't have anything like that currently on me. I think that if we can get a couple of extra spares just in case, it would be a very good thing to do. But um, well, we are in the right area for it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My main concern, I mean, we have horses. We can go to town. We can go and buy some gems, but we're leaving the ship grounded, basically, with a crew of people who are
If we're
not.
close enough to a town, we might have to find a place to go find some. We are in the Gem Mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I'm
Let's go
worried about
digging.
leaving. I'm worried about leaving the crew. That's all. But you know,
And I think and the captain, I mean, we're fairly competent and such. I'm not so worried about that. Eldon, like, well, I can stay behind as well. Just make sure. Uh, um, someone of sufficient arcane ability can take care of things. Yes, that should be that and at that
Yeah.
point you can kind of see, yeah, and he's like, and you need to sleep, right?
Definitely.
So, um, we could try to rewire the flight accumulator or the weapon accumulator. Um, although, like, it'll only be a temporary fix, and it won't solve the problem for a long range flight. It would just only allow us to limp along. Um, uh,
So
and
are we north or south of that green dot?
you are a little bit south. You're right about here.
Are we in between the green and blue lines? Or are
Um,
we on the northwest side of the green line?
kind of the northeast side of the green line. Yeah, so yeah, basically closer on a little on the Coppervale side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're right in the middle of the mountains.
Kind of, yeah. So, and you look around, it is sort of a wide, just, and the mountains here, they're the very top peaks along here have a little bit of snow still on them, but for the most part, it's all green and lush looking down into the valley, especially off to the other side, where the Coppervale side is kind of more flatland plains, whereas the Gervon side is more trees and almost like so both are green on the other side there, but the type of vegetation is very different on either side. Um, kind of flat plains on the Coppervale side and forested areas on the Gervon side.
Okay.
Um, Hogarth, I can figure out the right if we can figure out where we are, I can direct you to the nearest place. I don't know if it's going to be to the um, back the way we came or further ahead. Um, I don't know. I never really flown in this area specifically, so I can figure it out though. Um, and
So okay. Hmm. I'll wait for
yeah,
Amethyst to get back.
I'm here.
okay.
I think we should go digging. Find a hole, a tunnel, someplace in the mountains, and just go digging.
What would it take for me to, being a dwarf, what is there a chance that I would be able to say know vaguely what to look for?
Um, I would say yeah, you would know at least what um. I mean, you I don't know that you've ever really have you done mining? I'm not sure if you have in your past or not, done actual mining or not.
I hadn't gone that far into his thing. I was kind of
Okay.
being skeptical about it, saying, "Well, he lost his entire family to in the mines. Would he do it again? Was he a miner at one point, or what age he was when it happened?"
Yeah. I mean, you can say that you probably spent most dwarves, especially ones that lived
Spend
that
time
spent time
in
in
the
Brunati,
mines.
have been underground quite a bit. So
Yeah.
you do have the stone cutting idea that you probably could, if you got into a mine, kind of be able to navigate in there. And but I mean, just to jump into a hole in the ground and be able to find a gem, that would be a little beyond your skill set as it would be. Um,
Okay.
so um, yeah,
I am here, by the way. Just
yeah, that's you.
so.
Mhm. So Sora wants to jump into a hole and start digging. Um,
Too. And actually, if we're on the ground, yes?
Oh yeah, you're on the ground now. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll probably jump out of the ship and start looking for some place to start digging.
sure. Um, you're on the side of a mountain, so I mean you can start chunking away at some rocks or certain
Well,
few things
I
that you
mean,
carefully.
we're not miners. We don't have the tools. We don't have the equipment. And we're not miners. We're not going to do hard labor. Why don't we just go to town and find somewhere that sells big gems and find out how much that's going to be?
I have two big hammers here that can do lots of damage. Or
You could break rocks easily, yes,
yeah,
but to
or
make holes,
that's not the point. The point is breaking rocks and making a hole. Like, and
Yeah,
then
but no, in our luck, you'll collapse the whole mine, and there'll be a massive issue, and we'll get into trouble and be arrested or something. Why don't we just at least ask permission before? I mean, people own the land, I'm sure. You can't
I
just
know that
go
there's
whacking.
I know that there's a town. We passed that town. There's that town northwest of us, right?
yep.
So we can head that way. That's the only place that I know of. According, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for the captain to figure out where we're at.
Okay. So after a bit of time, Hogarth will come back up. I think I can honestly say heading back the way we came might not be good based on our speed and how much time we spent. Um, I think that we're probably about it'd be a 2-day ride to get back up there through the mountains. Um, but uh, according to my count, to if the maps, I can trust the maps here. Uh, right, and he's like, we are, and he'll just go ahead and kind of do this. We are right about here, and I'm gonna assume that right about, if that's the case, then there should be a town right about there. It's maybe a day's ride, kind of down the mountain. Um, uh, according to my the maps, I think that is actually named. Uh, um, uh, hmm. Nope, that can't be right. And at one point, as you see, kind of Bert kind of slap his, kind of like bop his hand as he kind of like nudges him. He's sitting at his feet. He's holding his map out there, and Bert's like, "Oh, right, right," and he kind of turns it a little sideways and doesn't flip it upside down, but he kind of turns it sideways, like, "Oh, right, yeah, right here. It's uh," and like kind of reading it there. What's that say? I'm not very good on my dwarven. What is that? What is that? What does that say there? And he kind of holds it up to you, Grimbar. Like, what's that? And it's in dwarven. Um, you see the name of a little town there.
And what does it say?
Uh, Potterville.
Potterville. Okay, it's Potterville.
Um, uh, since you're kind of from the area here, at least, it literally is a place that makes clay. I mean, it is a clay
So I was gonna say it
wash.
was a town of potters.
Yeah, pretty much. Not very imaginative dwarves' names aren't. So yeah, you're like, oh god, yeah, they literally they have a massive clay production,
Which
and they
isn't
make,
that okay?
yeah. Um, there is, I mean, you've never been there specifically, but yeah, they definitely, um a lot, from according what you heard at least, a lot of rivers and streams that sort of like um wash a lot of dirt down the side. There's all these like little like mud flows and everything else, and they just scoop it up. It's all like clay like, and so you scoop it up and just and just spend most of the year firing and making pots and pottery and various kinds, and ship it out to the rest of the kingdom. So, uh, maybe a day's ride, from what I can tell. So I hope that helps, right?
Day's ride.
Hmm.
How far is a walk? I don't have a horse.
You have a horse. We have horses. We have saddles you can use.
Yep, saddle of summoning.
got one.
Oh, that's right. And I knew that. I'm just playing like he forgot about that. He's a dwarf. He doesn't have a
Mhm.
horse.
So really, like,
We have.
Doesn't even know how to ride a horse. I don't
is
think.
yours a horse or is it a mule? Because I think one was made
Actually, I think you said that you gave me the pony one or something.
a pony. Okay.
I
Well,
think Trevor had a
Eldon had the
small
white.
horse.
Yeah, he had a small horse. It was more like a smaller size horse. Eldon had the goat.
He had a goat, yeah. But he's still using his, so. Well, not right now,
Then
obviously.
Lucas also had a full size horse, and so you think that the pony size one that Trevor had probably wouldn't work too well for a dwarf because
Yeah.
they're pretty heavy. Although it's a magical horse, so it wouldn't be that worried about. It would probably do fine. So we just look kind of comical. So
How long
Yeah.
would it take to fly there in a straight line?
a straight line. I mean, probably like half a day, easily half the time. Because I mean, going down a mountain, traversing down the side of a mountain is more is just avoiding. It's a difficult path there, so um, you don't have to worry about terrain. You can get there pretty darn fast.
I can fly down there.
Yeah, I mean,
That's an option for everyone.
Flying?
Yeah.
Care what we do as long as we do it.
Well, you got mass flying or something.
Oh, I've got Pegasus.
So that
Make
would
sure you
mean you
forward.
can
Yeah,
fly.
so that's you can fly. So how are you getting everybody else to fly?
Do we all need to go? I thought we were just buying a gem and coming back.
Do you want to split the party? Right. You and your Pegasus.
Well, you can easily take a second person on the Pegasus. It wouldn't be just you.
Yeah, I could take someone else. How about it, Grimbar? Do you fancy flying down there?
Did you see what just happened? Did you just see what just happened? And you want me to fly? Anybody else want a drink? My stomach hasn't come out of knots yet. No, I don't want to fly. No. Good luck trying to get me back in that boat.
Look,
Alright.
Amethyst, if you're so worried about it, why don't you go with Lucas down to the city? I'm gonna sit here and dig a hole.
Because who's going to babysit you while you're digging a hole and getting into trouble?
She has a whole
Grimbar!
ship's crew.
And the whole ship.
The whole ship is there. It's not like there's she's by herself.
Sure.
Okay.
Grimbar, you'll dig a hole with me, right?
Yeah,
All
I'll try
right.
to.
I'll set about summoning my Pegasus.
You're not worried about them going off on their own?
No, they can be fine. Lucas has teleportation of some kind, and Amethyst is really good at bringing out her slod and then just disappearing. Well, they'll be fine.
Do we anticipate trouble in a dwarven town?
Is it Christmas?
He obviously doesn't know dwarves.
Is that music on? Not 20.
It is. Yes, it is. I wasn't able to hear it.
I could hear it.
Oh, let me try this one instead. I cannot hear it. It's weird. Music volume. 1 sec here.
Something like Christmas.
That was the country village one. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be. I literally can't hear it, so I can't actually tell what I'm playing.
We've had a long rest, right?
Oh yeah. It's been a couple of days at this point. It's been well over a day since you guys left the mine, the tomb. Yeah. So Lucas, within whatever the casting time is there, you're able to bring, and you guys see this Pegasus kind of fade into view, stamp its feet a couple times, and kind of toss the mane back there. The ways the wings stretch out and then fold back along its back.
Before we leave, do you want to give us an inspiring speech, Lucas?
Yeah, I will do. 10
Yes!
minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. As Lucas is
17?
summoning, you guys will get the 17 temporary hit points as Lucas.
Is it
kind of,
17?
Yeah.
What's the now? With that, did they
Yeah.
have to stay with you, or did they just get that when you initially do it, and it sticks around until.
Yeah, just when I initially do it, it stays until
Long rest, isn't it? Is it short rest?
short rest. Yeah.
Do a short rest. Okay, no worries. So yeah,
Okay.
you guys can you kind of get that pick me up essentially, and Lucas, you're able to um, get the saddle up on the up on there. You gonna put the barding on it, or just gonna let it go without the barding for now?
Yeah, I might as well put the board in on.
Okay.
You can do that while you're giving your inspiring speech, can't you?
Yeah.
Yep. So as you kind of get the saddle on there, get the barding on there, and kind of talking everybody through um, the inspiration for the day. Sora, you kind of start looking for a spot to kind of start the place to start smashing your hammer into the ground and setting up chunks of rock flying and dirt clods going every which way. Every kind of thunderous smash kind of widens the hole you start making. Everyone just sort of like most people are just sort of like watching you either in confusion or just like okay.
That
It's sort of
sounds
like
about right.
all right.
Like, listen, we can all dig holes, and I do have Smith's tools, by the way, and we
Sure.
could dig holes and look for these gems that they're looking for, and we'll find out who gets this gem before the other team. That's just how it's gonna work.
Sora,
Yeah.
Smith tools don't help you dig.
Oh, really?
It's missiles help you big blacksmithing. Like hammers, tongs. It's not gonna be shovels and
Well,
picks.
why did I
You
It'll
pick
be
can't
these things?
mining tools.
you can't dig in the ground with great big hammers either. What
I
I
Uh,
mean,
know.
I would say that at least with Cloud Strike, since it does thunder damage with every hit there, it'll basically send lots of chunks of things flying with each hit, but it's not going to be much of a like.
My
You know, yeah,
my idea is you know we go find a rocky slope and we look for gems along the slope line and bust up some rocks doing that way. That's a possibility where we can find gems. But when we're digging through the trying to create a mine, we don't have the tools.
well,
But
then
if
let's
you
go do
want
your thing.
if you want to go bust up some big rocks or try to find gems that way, we could do that.
and
Let's do that.
A blonde orc just joined
yeah,
us.
Quinn just jumped in. Killed our cameras there a second there, Quinn. Hey, um, so okay. Yeah. So Sora and Grim sort of like moving around the slope line, trying to find a place to like start cracking open rocks or starting to find natural fissures to crack open and mess around with. Um, Lucas and Amethyst hop up on the Pegasus and just start to fly kind of southeasterly off in the direction that Hogarth pointed out. Um, Hogarth will actually tell you, keep this kind of bearing here. You should see something, depending on how high up you go, you should be able to see something within, uh, and, and he sort of pauses and, uh, roughly 5, 6, he pauses. Uh, right. About 6 hours or so. You should be able to see something um, down at the base of the mountains, um, based on those calculations.
Do y'all
This,
speak Dwarven?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
He's got a belt of dwarven kind.
um, as Hogarth is talking, you'll see him like say like about 4, and like there's a he, you know, and Bert just sort of like baps him on the side of the leg, and he like pauses 5, baps him again. Oh, 6 hours.
Love.
And yeah, you able to head on down that way. Um, so while
Lie
you're
down, yeah.
flying, yeah. So while you're flying, you have some time there. Um, I would say Grim and Sora, give me we'll call it a survival check. Why not? not really
Survival.
survival, but there's definitely a crafting check there. It's more just like finding the right sort of terrain to look for, finding the right sort of fissure to kind of a crack or something like that.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Um, I did a roll earlier and it didn't
oh,
go through, so I don't know what's going on.
let me double check that you have um, you have the
I know that
or just
D&D Beyond just did an update and it's not linking between D&D Beyond and Roll20.
okay. So go ahead and roll and tell me the result. It's fine. I'm not
You
gonna.
might have to just click on the add-on and give it permission again, because I
Mm,
had to do that.
okay.
Okay.
I got an
You can
11,
also
Jim.
okay. You can also use the dice roller on the side. Just kind of click that and just do roll 20. Roll 20. Isa.
I got a 16.
Nice. Okay. So as Lucas and Amethyst are kind of moving down there, again, the mountainsides are very, very green, lush with the plant matter and everything else. You will see a lot of like open areas where water is spilling out and down, not large rivers, but like little streams and creeks. But these little like kind of tumbling, like thin openings in the side of the mountains where water is just pouring down the side. Kind of adding to the effect of the green, um, and the little shimmering of light as a spray of mist kind of coats the side of the side of the mountains as you're flying down there. Sora and Grim, you guys, well, Sora, you kind of pick a couple spots there and smack. And some chunks of rock go flying there, and Grim, you sort of like over this way, over this way. Kind of, you're kind of like picking the places um, and telling Sora to smack her hammer in there, and you do find um, a couple of good openings where some good sized cracks form on the side. You realize you probably need some sort of like a pick or something else to really kind of open it up more.
I do have a
Um,
crowbar.
I mean, so yeah, with that and coming in there, you kind of tap in there and kind of start opening up there. After a good couple of hours, you get a pretty decent size like crack in the side of where here. And while you're not finding gems just yet, you're definitely finding um, more like rocky terrain as you kind of scrape away some of the mud and dirt on the surface.
All
And
right.
yeah, you're definitely seeing some results. While you wouldn't call it a mine, you're definitely getting a hole you can definitely spread open and find more chunks of rock and such. Who knows what you'll find?
All right.
Um,
And as we're doing that, I'm just carrying on a conversation with her about what I know about the dragons and where I'd been in that area, and just kind of going back and forth,
Dragon's
just
Den.
casual conversation, friendly conversation.
Yeah. And yeah, Sora, what you pick up there is Grimm's actually spent time in Drakal, actually in with the Dragonkin. Not so much in their cities and settlements, but kind of in the region and knowing what's there, in the actual mountains of where Jakal is located. Specifically, kind of uh, over in this sort of vicinity, kind of in the north, sort of the northwest part of it there, and then along the water as well. Knowing what you will know, just to point it out here, uh, this central sort of large area right here is where the gold dragonkin are from. The brass here, bronze here, silver here, and what's the last one? Copper right here. Um, the brass and copper doing most of their mining and trading essentially. The bronze being sort of their like more actual like trade port there, and the gold and silver sort of nestled high up in the mountains, sort of the least social of them all. So with that and sort of a somewhat productive afternoon, you guys are cracking open the side of the mountain. They're kind of forming, well, not a mine, a pretty good sized hole with starting to see some more like solid chunks of rock and such as you're digging your way in there. Lucas and Amethyst. Um, as you sort of like bank and fly along the side there, terrain's moving by very, very quickly. You will spot. It's not hard to spot there because at the base of the mountainside here, there's just that fanning out that sort of we call alluvial fans of where just kind of this kind of mud kind of spreads out in almost this fan shape through all these little creeks and rivulets down the side of the slope and sort of nestled in almost like a, a gap in where these little fans spread out. There's a chunk, a large cluster of buildings um, that seem to be a little bit raised up around the terrain around the side. As you start to fly in there, you see these squat stone buildings sort of spread out there. It's kind of a sprawling area there. There's a road that heads kind of um, would be further to the southeast, kind of away from this place. Um, and yeah, as you start to approach there, there's along those mudslides and stuff like there, you'll see there's a number of people sort of like gathering up these large like buckets and such, and with these uh, what look to be something like oxen almost, kind of like strapping these buckets full of mud and such um, along them, and kind of herding these animals down the hill toward the village, toward this probably more like a village or a town rather than a city. Um, and you want to look for specifically as you're flying in toward the area.
Just on land before we don't want to fly down the main street. Just land and walk in.
On the outskirts. Okay.
I was
You
going
definitely
to
draw his
suggest
attention.
that.
Yeah, you definitely as people kind of you see this bright white horse with wings flying in there with the two people on the back. You kind of land on the outskirts, kind of on the edge of town essentially, and what you'll notice is that it's almost like it's think of like like um, kind of a fork in a river splits off there is sort of this like solid chunk of stone and thicker ground um, with all this kind of mudslides move on either side of it there. You're able to land on some solid ground there. And yeah, as you approach there, you will take note that the streets, like and they seem to be streets, are all what look like brick. Um, like all sort of this uniform brownish red brick, very well fitted together and everything else. As you kind of like the Pegasus's hooves are to clap clip clap on top on the brick walkways.
Does it appear to be a main building or a trader's place?
Um, yeah, it's not hard to spot. You'll see there's definitely kind of a central square, a lot of stalls set up there. A lot of a few wagons and stuff there, so it's almost sort of a market area. Not totally dissimilar from the kind of the market square kind of setup as that you have in Ravenscrest, but with more wagons and carts and stalls set up there instead of like shops and everything. As you do approach, there is at one hall. It's definitely it does have a in Dwarven say it says Crafter's Hall essentially. That's as you approach there. Um, you're definitely getting some odd looks. Everyone here is a dwarf or a gnome for the most part. You don't see anything else really in the way of humans, so you definitely stand out, the two of you. Um, your horse, your steed also definitely attracts a lot of attention as well, as it's very large compared to everybody here. You definitely stand taller than most everyone. They're very huge dwarves that stand very much higher than 5 feet, and the gnomes, of course, being closer to 3 feet. So you're definitely at least a head taller than everyone else here.
Is anyone selling gems openly, or is it just like trade goods?
Give me perception checks as you kind of look around the market stall. Amethyst, you too? I mean, I assume you're
Yeah.
okay. Um, Lucas, you'll spot a lot of wares. Mostly what's here is sort of people selling various like clay pots and um, mugs and plates and bowls and such like that. Very thing. Okay. Um, but yeah, um, you don't really spot any as a gem as actual like gemstones. At least not on the market stall.
Try out the crafter's hall then.
Okay. All right. Um, you'll see lots of mostly almost entirely in Dwarven. You'll hear the people like calling out there, pots for sale, mugs, the best mugs. Um, Food vendors as well calling out various sausages and meats and such of that as you kind of walk along. But yeah, as you make your way to the crafters hall there, in a large squat, it's only one of the larger buildings here. It's probably, I mean, good like um, almost like it almost takes up maybe a city block, and not very tall, maybe about 10, 12 feet tall. This like little wide squat building, but there's a entranceway here. It is entirely built from brick, and very well made, well fitted bricks and such as you approach. um, and pretty much when you walk in, there is just a hall, and there's these little alcoves off this main room as you enter, and every alcove is sort of a kiln um or a workstation and everything else. As you look into this main thing, there are some hallways going off further into the building itself, but this main hall is just this massive like workspace, and you just hear um clanking of hammers and scraping of chisels, and just a clanking of tools everywhere you look as you move through here. As you step inside, a dwarf female steps up to you, just kind of this heavy leather apron kind of thing there, with just smudges of clay and such all over there. And then, what do you want? What are you here for? What's going on?
I'd
Because I'm
say,
hardly obviously, so
no, no, we landed nearby. We're looking for gems or a gem or two.
gems, huh? We don't normally have a lot of gems here, but let's see. Uh, she kind of pauses, looks over her shoulder there, kind of like looking down the way. Uh, Stelger. Yeah, fourth stall on the right. Check in over there. He may have some stuff. He does a lot of work with gemstones and such and all of his work there. So, yeah, Stelger, fourth stall on the right. And
I'll
then she just
thank
kind of
her.
like, yeah, sure, whatever, and just kind of like stomps off toward there. And you see as she steps away, she pulls out this almost like this oh, basically like a clipboard kind of like that, like checking off things and just writing things really quickly there. Steps up and talks to the first person on the stall on the right, on the left hand side there, and just starts writing down and just talking to them really rapid fire in Dwarven, just like asking what their stock is, what they're working on, materials needed, such that just kind of just quick rapid fire succession there. But you head down to the stall on the right there for Stelgar.
Yeah.
And you'll see a dwarf male, just sort of this br- like bushy braid of blonde, like almost like hair pulled back and sticking down all the way on the side there. But maybe four, a little over 4 feet tall, but has that dwarven build there. Um, and they're just hunched over this work table, and you'll see this like, just this like array of stones and like vats of clay and all sorts of materials there as they're working on something that they're kind of hunched over working on this thing. Um, the table he's working on maybe 3 feet high, so it's about chest level. He's sort of like just grabbing stuff, and like it's just a blur of motion as he's grabbing things and moving stuff there.
Do they seem to be busy, or they obviously walk in?
Yeah,
Do they attract their
he's sort of
attention?
like Yeah, and they just sort of like they don't look up, they don't look over your shoulder, they don't seem to notice you there. They're just literally like working, like frantically working at first.
I'll say in Dwarven. You know, I is one of you guys still there?
Stilgar's just like what? What? Ah, right. No, working. Uh, Materials. Yeah, need more Darkstone. Darkstone. Yeah. Need that for the next project here. It is like not quite. It never turns around, never like acknowledges your presence for the most part there. Reaches over and scatters a whole set of like tools across the way and like picks out one there and starts like gouging and shaping something he's working on there. You just see like chips of stone flying and like reaches into a pot over here and pulls out a glob of what looks like be like mud and slaps it in there, starts in there, um, pulls out what's almost like a blowtorch and starts like like fires it up there. So just a weird mishmash. You can't tell what he's working on specifically, but yeah, there's a whole thing there. Um, does you just like standing there with him, or you're looking around, or doing okay? Yeah,
I don't speak Dwarven, so I'm letting Lucas
yeah,
do what,
okay.
sort of casting spells if I need to.
You speak Gnomish though, right?
I do speak English.
You will catch the little bits of some conversation just kind of throughout the room there. There's probably a good 30 or so people in here. Occasionally, you'll see them kind of walking across the way and moving around, and you'll do catch snippets of Gnomish conversation as well. And what you'll find is that the Dwarven Gnomish language is there's some common root words, so you pick out like one word in 10 that you got to go. Is that what I think that means? Or so you definitely are picking out little bits of snippets of
Mhm.
actual Gnomish conversation and words that sound enough like Gnomish things to kind of pick out what's being said. But yeah,
Okay.
Silgar is just like literally just like just acting like you're supposed to be um,
Yeah.
taking an order essentially.
I will say we're here to buy gems.
Buy gems, right? Um, uh, um, and it finally like pauses and like steps back, and he sort of like looks confused for a moment, and then looks back at you and oh, all right, sure. Uh, what was I doing? And you look and on the platform or something is this strange lump of stone and clay and things that, and you're not sure what it is. It's almost like a piece of art or something that's half formed or not quite finished there, and he just sort of like blinks and like, what the? I'll figure this out later. And just shoves it aside there. And he like, looks back at you and, oh, right. And then in common, um, you want gems, right? Hmm. What kind? What's how big?
I'll explain, tell him what we were told, how big we need them for an airship. Whether he knows
Airship.
anything about airships.
Uh, Never been on one. I know what they are. Sure.
It's
Gems.
a ship in the air.
Pretty much. And he starts like looking underneath his work table and just sort of, and the two of you, as he's looking around trying to see stuff there, you'll see that there is like just various like crates and boxes just sort of stacked up. There's no like drawers or anything or shelves. It's really just like wooden boxes and crates that are just sort of shoved underneath the table, in various places there. And he starts like grabbing like these boxes and sliding them out and pulling them out and sliding out, and there's just chunks of stone and weird like half formed clay sculpture things or something. It's like nope, nope, nope. And he pulls out something that's like kind of looks at it and like eh, and just smashes it on there like shards of like clay and pottery kind of like go scattered there. I don't know what the heck that was. Um, and as he does, like some chunks of somewhat glittery, uh, maybe gemstones, kind of spill across the desk there, and he starts like shoving them out of the way and kind of sorting through. What size again? Um, and like, oh, and he's like pulls up, puts, pulls another box, throws it in there. No, no, just, and for a moment he's just like sorting through there as we move along here. So Stilgar is definitely in the process of sifting through materials for you for the moment there.
I'll wait patiently.
Okay.
Mhm.
And while you're waiting patiently here, let's go back to Grim and Sora, who at this point have opened up a pretty good sized fissure. Um, let's go ahead and have you guys give me extra survival. Actually, Sora, give me an athletics check,
Athletics?
and Grim, give me another athletics, and Grim, give me an investigation check. As at this point now, you're sort of like you cracked open the hard work now. Sora, it's more of a matter of stamina, being able to keep smashing rock
Mm,
and opening up spaces there. And Grim, you kind of like examining and trying to see what you can find there.
I got 21.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, you're just smashing open this fissure that's in there. Um, just as you kind of are getting kind of into the point now where you can actually get a good swing and crack open the side on one side and swing and crack open the other side. At this point, you're using Cloud Strikes kind of double-handed now because Sunbeam's not going to do a whole lot with opening up a fissure, whereas a Thundering Hammer definitely would.
24.
Nice. Okay. So what you'll find is with that, you'll start finding chunks of stone that have Grim. You recognize some ore at least. Um, Maybe some copper-colored ore, some silvery colors as well as there, which you know from at least in your stone cutting at least, where you find veins of metal, there will be gems. It's a matter
All
of finding where the borders reach and where the crystals, larger crystals, can form. Not seeing anything specifically here, but you are finding good chunks of various ore and um, we'll just actually, it's kind of a combination of uh, well, um, copper and bauxite, which
okay.
is what's
Yep.
eventually refined into aluminum,
Mm.
which is not a very common metal, but you're definitely seeing some things there that might be helpful. You kind of collecting these chunks of ore and such. Um, by that point, though, you guys are losing steam. I mean, you've been at this now for hours, and to be able to get to this point here, whether you want to keep going or not is up to you. Um, but or if you want to take a pause you're probably, I mean, literally, probably you had to move about maybe about half a mile or so from the ship itself. You can still see the ship on the hillside away off in the distance there, but you're definitely
We'll sit down and take a break,
okay.
and we'll go. So we've been here for what, 5 hours or so?
About 5 6 hours at this point.
Yeah.
Just working pretty steady there. You sort of using your crowbar every time sort of open it. You kind of use your crowbar and kind of dig, like, kind of chunk things out with it, and pulling out like little chunks of rock. And oh, there's definitely some ore in this. And
Can
Yeah.
I try one thing before we get completely
absolutely
sidetracked with taking a break? I would like to try to do a spell called Locate Object.
okay.
Thank you.
Hmm.
There you
Um,
go.
I don't know what like type of stone she was looking for. She just said a gem, right?
I
So
look. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I look at her and say, "Really? We've been here for 5 hours, and you just thought about this?
well,
Really?"
well, think here, Grimbar. It's not a spell I normally use ever. So I just you know thought about
I'm
it.
grumbling.
I'm
We've
sorry.
been
Well,
here
I,
5 hours
Listen,
sweating.
and
think about
Can I
all
and
the
just say
muscles
that
we're building
Amethyst
up.
suggested it to Sora before her and Lucas left.
Think,
So
think about all the
yeah.
muscles we're building in the meantime, right?
Well, one thing you know is that locate object cannot locate things through solid rock. So you need to open up a good sized hole before you even try, because literally it's like, well, I mean, it can't see through like a whole bunch there. Now you have some openings and some fissures. You may be able to get something in there. So, sorry, go ahead and give me your perception or investigation there. Or how does locate object work? Does it allow you to? It just gives you the location, right, of an object.
resets the direction as long as it's within 1,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, the spell within any thickness of lead, even thin sheet, blocks a direct path between you and the object. So as long as there's no
Yeah.
lead between me and it, I should be able
Okay.
to see it.
Okay.
1,000 feet.
Let's just see then. Let me try something real quick here. Where is my dice roller? I'm just gonna do something.
So if
awfully weird.
she was shown the broken garnet, she would at least then know that she was looking for, because it says that you need to have seen the item up close so that you can find it.
A certain kind of apparel, jewelry, furniture, tool, or weapon. Yeah. So, yeah. Um, okay. Uh, yeah. You will definitely be able to detect some sort of garnet-like gemstone is in the area there. You can kind of see it if you dig down to the right in this fissure there or something like that. It's a ways in there. How far? Let's see. Let me just roll some dice on my own here. Let's see. Come on, my dice roller. Sec. Um,
Never good when Jim rolls dice.
yeah. Well, I'm rolling these out of view here, so I can see about looking at here. Um, it's not close. You probably have to dig down a good like 20 to 30 feet,
Mm.
which you've gone in about 6 to 8 feet right now. But now
What?
knowing a direction and having a better way to go there, you may be able to kind of turn and start chunking further in there. But again, the lack of tools is going to be difficult. Um,
How could you not have a pickaxe? You're a dwarf.
Talking of racism,
How many times can you cast that?
That as many second level spell slots as I have. But it's an
Wow.
action and I concentrated on it for 10 minutes, so I mean,
Okay, so you got the spell for at least 10 minutes
yeah.
active.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, is there a hillside or anything that has large boulders on it that we're fairly close to?
I wouldn't say large boulders, but yeah, there's definitely some rocks and stuff in there. I mean, how
Along
large
the
are you gonna rock?
along the riverbank or creek
Yeah,
bank,
yeah,
whatever we're on.
sure.
I'll have her scan that area because I know that here's the copper, or iron thing, and just kind of scan that way and do a big circular 360 degree.
Okay.
Maybe move
Yeah.
off a little bit and scan another area because I don't digging down 20 feet can get actually very dangerous.
Mhm. You will find that yeah, nothing's gonna ping there that is of a size. Like you're picturing something about the size that you were shown.
Okay,
Nothing of that size is gonna be at the surface.
okay,
So yeah, it's gonna be a
not
little
that lucky.
tricky. Um, however, I'm trying to see. Nope, he does not. Let's see if Eldon had any tools for that. Um, yeah, it's not something that he would be able to hand you a pickaxe specifically based on
Is
the
there a shovel on the ship?
I'll say sure. Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to find something like that just because they had to. Um,
We probably brought that with us, so
yeah.
that's helping.
Okay.
Well,
So yeah, you can. That'll definitely help there between your crowbar, that cloud strike, and a shovel. You can definitely start widening a space there and getting down there. So yeah, you guys back to it. Uh, Amethyst and Lucas. Um, you'll find that he will eventually, in kind of like pulling out another crate there, and sort of like just kind of, it's almost like he's like digging through this stuff here and just seeing and there's just chunks of rock and things in there, and finally he pulls out something that's a very dusty looking, dirty thing. But he pauses for a moment there, takes a clay jug off the side there and dunks his whole hand in, and pulls out what looks to be this kind of reddish brown, rough looking stone. It and you realize looking at there, it might be a rough cut chunk of garnet. It has that sort of look to it there. It's not polished. It's not pretty, but it's definitely of a similar size. It's a good, maybe about a size of a small cantaloupe.
Mhm.
It's kind of a little bit lopsided by the look of it. There, it's just it is very rough looking in there. Like, well, this is garbage. I mean, like you kind of clunk 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 there, and it pulls out a little chisel and kind of like, that should be the right. That's a garnet. Yeah. Um.
Yeah,
Uh.
that's garbage.
Yeah. He's like meh. Um. And it's one of those things like it's just it's not pretty. It's not it's this lumpy looking sort of like oblong looking chunk of garnet. I don't um like uh and he's like 50 gold.
Yeah.
50 gold.
Okay.
I mean, it's
50.
like hmm,
Do you always sell your garbage for 50 gold?
well, yeah. I mean, it's still useful, right? I know. I know use is just not much use to me, so sure.
So it's not much use to you. Maybe it'd be,
If
you
it
don't
was
find.
useful to me, I'd say 500, because then I wouldn't want to part with it. This is just taking up space. So 50 gold.
Persuade him to, try and
Sure,
persuade him to.
give me a persuasion check. See what you want to. What price do you want to give him?
We got any idea how much it might be worth? Have we got any
I
clue?
mean, if this thing were cut and like polished and cut up there, it would easily be worth 500 or more. It's just that it would need a lot of work. So that's why he's like, I don't want to do the work. I don't care.
I'm assuming we don't need a perfectly cut one to do the job.
I mean, that's the idea that it would be basically uh, Eldon and or Audrey's job to cut it and shape it for their purposes.
I will say telepathically to Lucas, just give him 50. It's making me laughing, isn't it?
Yeah, all right, go on then. I
Okay.
won't try. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Um, this will get me a whole lot more supplies and way more useful than this thing here. So he just kind of like tosses it to you and just it it it's sizable. You're like, oh God. It lands in your hand there. It is solid, this solid chunk of very ugly looking garnet.
Okay.
Um,
That's what they
Can
said.
I
In.
make a suggestion before we leave?
if you wanna.
Do you need a system? This whole searching through boxes for stuff, it's not, you know, it's not working.
It's part of the process. It's all part of the inspiration and the spontaneity. I mean, if it was all cataloged and put into places there, it would just be cookie cutter stuff. I mean, I'm not a cook. I'm an artist.
No, you could find things immediately when you need them, and that gives you more time for your creativity.
I don't know what I need until I go looking for it. So that's just the
Okay.
thing. If I was just going to be sitting here, like going through this box of materials, like, I know what things are for the most part. That's besides, it's more fun this way. Enjoy your lump of ugly stone.
Thank you.
I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Um, so you'll definitely see uh, very people kind of looking at you odd. If there's anything else you want to look into the other craftsmen there, most of the other craftsmen are built like one person across the way is literally making bricks. Like just there's a stack of finished bricks and there's a whole stack of material there. He's literally pulling like from the kiln there, and they're all perfectly symmetrically shaped and everything else, just like perfect stack of bricks are lining up there. Um, there's a gnome that's pulling out from a kiln there. These beautifully fired clay mugs that are already setting up there. Um, but yeah, just various craftsmen at work there. A wide array of different people doing different things in different levels of organization and such. As you find your way out.
Is there anything you want to buy, Amethyst?
You got
His
real
whole
quiet.
system is just stressing me out. I think we should just go.
Okay.
Okay. So you kind of like on your way out there. Um, if there's anything you think of on the as you're leaving that you want to look into, we'll come back to you in just a moment here. But Grim and Sora, after a good break there, a chance to have some conversation. Yeah, Eldon's not with you guys currently. He's back on the ship, sleeping at this point, or doing something. You're not sure what he's doing exactly. He's probably either
No, I
he's
totally brought him with us. He is sleeping on the ground where I can keep an
okay.
eyeball on him. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you after any of you nudge him awake, there he will actually, because he has something that can do this. He'll like, okay, fine, fine, fine. Yes, I can do this. And he takes his what's this effectively this little rod of metal about yay long, and he'll like twist it and start like moving things on it
I
there,
back away.
um, and there'll be this sort of like surge of what looks to be very similar to the Mizium stuff that you have,
Uh-huh.
Sora, and it will form into a mining pick.
Nice.
Um,
We should have woken up earlier.
I hate all of you.
uh, he has what's called an all-purpose tool, so
He
effectively he
does.
can make any
Yeah.
tool he wants, but it's something that only he can use currently. So it's like, you want to do what? And so he'll like, kind of, hey, fine, 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 um, because basically he has to keep focus on it to make it do what it wants to. So
Mm-hmm.
he gets in there and just this,
Can
choo, 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 and he is perfectly proficient at mining at any proficiency that he uses his all-purpose tool on. So once he configures it, he's like in there and just making these perfect like, and within moments is making this rather well made carving out the section of the stone there on the side.
yeah, but it's down there.
Right, of course, yes. And he kind of starts adjusting in there and um he's like he paused every moment and saying, okay, Sora, well, I need you to go ahead and four strikes here. And
Got it.
and you just and like chunks of stone go flying out there um and 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 um Grimbar, sir, go ahead and pry away those sections there and pull pull those pieces out. And so
Okay.
within another like the progress you made in about 5 hours, you make double that in about two. Um,
Sweet.
and Sora, you're able to kind of and effectively then recast locate object and start adjusting course on there. Um,
We need to work on our communication skills. I really, really, we do.
so
See, this is what happens when the chatty one isn't there.
yeah, when he's sort of like out of commission essentially.
Yeah.
We'll say the two of you go ahead and give me the sorry, you stepped away there. You know, investigation check there, Grim, because you're the one with stone cutting. See if you can
I'm still here.
kind of yeah, okay. Then give me another athletics check to keep kind of that energy going. See what we end up with. Ooh, that's even dice.
10. I got it 10.
Yeah, okay, you're getting tired. You're definitely feeling the strain of this. You've been working for a good like 7 hours at this, and just while you're used to training, you're used to fighting this repetitive smashing over and over again, something you do not do. So you're definitely starting to feel the effects of it.
I don't know why I'm coming up as burning spray.
Don't know. That's weird.
Look at your chat window where it says as. What is the name of you?
Oh, there it is.
yeah. That's interesting.
I did send you a message that said,
No.
not to check the name below the chat box is yours and not spell fit.
All right, but that is my
Oh yeah, 18.
role.
Nice. Okay. With that, we'll just say that Sora, with your looking object there, you're starting to feel the effects of it there. But you will get into some chunks of what appear to be various small gemstones. Um, some more crystalline structures and all that. Nothing that's going to be really the size you need, but you'll definitely be able to pry out some good sizes. And Eldon's pretty impressed. Like this is a nice little corundum here. This might be a bit of sapphire on this side over here. Not really anything of the right size, but definitely something we can use for some smaller projects and such. But there's not really something we can use as a ship size accumulator. Um, but this will be very helpful for things for other projects at least.
I'll find a big crack, and I'm just gonna get out some frustration and just stick my crowbar in there and see if I can rip a hole in the earth.
Give me an athletics check then. You're just gonna attack it there with the crowbar, and just give me this athletics check there. I know you're not a high strength, but this will be see what you can pull off here.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow.
So effectively, you just just jam your crowbar in there, and just pull, and a whole chunk of stone just comes tumbling down there. You kind of have to dance out of the way. You're more dexterous than you are strong, but you just like, and this mass of stone just comes tumbling out, almost crushing your foot there. And Sora and looking over his shoulder, as you see there is embedded in there a large chunk of not is sort of you're sort of like at first kind of thinking that's an odd looking rock, and you realize it is black stone, but it is actually has
Onyx.
yeah, it is a large onyx there. It is a very, I mean, it's a good like probably about a baseball size onyx there, and you're able to kind of like chip in there with the crowbar now, and Eldon will get in there with the little mining pick there and just kind of pry out this good size onyx. Um, Not the perfect thing for an accumulator, but this will be very useful. I think this will be yeah, this should do. Um, uh, Maybe you have as a backup, or we'll replace it there. This should do. This should do very nicely. Yes. Um, and so by the time you guys finally settle back on the ship, Lucas and Amethyst, you are arriving there with your chunk of garnet. Um, Eldon at that point is sort of like cataloging and checking things over there, and you hand him this thing. Oh my, this will be this will take some work, but this will be very useful indeed. We should definitely be able to do more with this. Right. Um, and at that point, uh, kind of losing sort of half a day, he gets to work there. Audrey gets to work, and he actually takes um, the garnet initially and just starts shaping it and working it there, giving the onyx to Audrey to sort of work on there. And the two of them get to work on fashioning a new accumulator. And as they're working, um, you're finally able to get some rest after a full day of flying back and forth and a full day of mining. You definitely are finding the need to at least get in a rest. Um, Over the course of the next 8, you got there? You're muted currently. Yeah.
I'll ask Sora, is she tired? I'll ask
No.
Lucas and Bernie if they're tired,
My response would be no.
or Amethyst.
Yep.
I'm fine.
Okay. Well, our communication still sucks. I'm tired. I'm gonna go sleep.
All
Sora,
right.
you say you're not tired, but the more you think about there, essentially you were pushing a point of exhaustion there. You hadn't failed enough but doing much more physical activity would push you into exhaustion territory. While you're not sleepy yet, you're just physically weary at this point there in a way that you're not used to. Um, I would say Lucas and Amethyst, you're more saddle sore than you are anything else. For flying a good 12 hours was definitely what you had to do there back and forth. A little longer getting back because you're flying, like, going against gravity a little bit more. So the Pegasus had to work a little bit higher to get get the altitude back up. Um,
Yep.
but you're able to get some rest in there as Audrey and Eldon work through the evening there, trying to get this new accumulator up and running. And by dawn the next day, they will announce that they do have a working accumulator for the levitation array, and should have a backup for it as well. Um, between between the two of them, they'll be able to have a primary and a secondary and a backup one in case it needs to be swapped out, or if this kind of thing happens again. Um, Eldon's, it's unfortunately the strain that puts continuous use on things. While it definitely can keep a charge and keep things running, it's more along the lines of continuous use can cause a crack or a fissure or break, and then making the item useless. So it has to be replaced on occasion. So, uh, and he just sort of like trails off and sort of stares. Um, yes, right. Um, and Audrey sort of like, come on, just pushes him back down stairs to where his sleeping area is, and he just kind of face plants down there as he passes out again. Like, I'm gonna need to sleep too, so nobody break anything for a while we get some sleep. Uh, um, and she sort of heads off to her own sleeping area there, as the ship takes off into the sky.
Excellent.
I am not going back up in the crow's nest for a while.
Understandable. Um, uh, anything else you guys, as you guys are taking off there? Anything else you want to do, or
Spoke with Sora and got 50 gold back from the party treasure to give to Lucas, so that
okay,
it hasn't come out of his pocket.
sure,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, go ahead. Yep, excellent. You go ahead and make the adjustment there, as the party funds fuel the ship's repair, essentially. Excellent.
Mhm.
And Captain is very appreciative, and Aile's like, uh, yeah, we should be able to get up in the ship biscuit here. I will say I'm not gonna push this very hard for the next day or so, and we probably will put down a couple of times just to make sure the charge is picking up the way it's supposed to. Because last thing we want to have is a situation like we did before where the charge ran out, and yeah, here we go. So um, yeah, I think we're gonna do something a little different. Uh, Trust me on this one. It will be fine. It'll feel a little weird at first, but it's not going to be weirder than what we just went through. So, um, and with that, the ship just goes up and up. This is just like straight up. And you just see the ground moving away from you. You're like, it's like just, I mean, and like as high as, and you were flying very high on your trip down to Dravier when you were heading down there before. Uh, I will say, Grimbar, you've never gone up this high. Like
No,
you're like, I don't know how, like you're just up and up and up and up and up, and
I'm
so
below deck.
yeah, and it's one of those things of like, okay, and you just if anyone's at least up on deck there, um, Aile's like, okay, Hogarth, eyes, I need you to give me the best wind current. Tell me where it is. Point me in the right direction. And well, I mean, along the mountainside, of course. And the captain was like, "What are we doing?" Um, "We're gonna ride the wind." What? And like it's a maneuver. It saves a lot of power and gets a lot of speed and can cover a lot of distance real quick. You can make up some time here. He's just like, all right,
With knowing
okay,
that, I'm gonna go up to the very, very front of the ship.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you look down and you are just like, whoa. Um, you're probably you don't know how high up. Um, like I'll just say it's about a mile up. Like it is thousands of feet into the air. You're like, whoa. Um, like you can't see details. You even see wisps of clouds and such up where you are. The air is kind of thin. Um, but it's enough to still do the breathe move along there. But there's definitely sort of this strange thing. What ends up happening is Hogarth and Eyes both kind of like report in. There's kind of directing like this far, this way. There'll be wind currents, this and so Eyes is kind of picking out where. Um, if you follow the bird trails below, you should be able to see the way that they're flying. It's like exactly, we're gonna follow the birds, and effectively the ship just sort of drops and just sort of angles down a little bit, and most of the lift goes out as the sails pick up, and just the ship just starts like coasting down toward the ground at a fairly not a steep angle, but enough that you can feel the angle of the ship, and the sails fill, and the ship just sort of like glides downward at a really crazy fast pace, as you're just riding the wind currents with almost no uh, like you're using gravity along with the wind at this point, as there's not a lot of lift happening. The ship's actually kind of going into a not quite a nosedive, but definitely a downward angle there. Um, yeah, at various times you'll see kind of birds kind of like banking along and just like following the like almost on the same wind currents there. The ship occasionally does almost the same thing where it shifts off to the side to pick up as the sails kind of like lose a little bit of wind there, and to kind of like Ales literally follow like using the sails to guide the pathway down. They're keeping the sails completely full. After probably a couple of hours, the once you Sora, once you start able to see down there, you just see the ground is racing by. You're just like, and you just see kind of the mountainsides. Um, you're not close, but you're getting closer. As they're probably a good 500 feet up at this point over the top of the mountain kind of peaks there, and she sort of angles away from there, kind of keeping alongside, keeping the mountains to one side, and just gliding along. And over the course of probably the rest of that day, you've covered a lot of ground. Um, you'll actually find that you're probably about here. We'll move a couple of circles here. This one. Here, 1 second. And you end up probably. Now move for me, please. Right about here. When Ale finally says, "We need to recharge," um, and right about where that river is, there is where and you covered probably a good 400 or 500 miles roughly
Wow.
on that base there in the course
Wow.
of one day. You've actually picked up time, made up for the time, the half a day you lost, um, and do this crazy maneuvering that she's done.
I was hoping it was going to slow us down a bit so we didn't get there too early.
Well, there you go. Not when you have a pilot as crazy as her. um, the rest of the crew, um, as the ship does come to land, the rest of the crew is sort of like looking at her in a mixture of kind of like, "Are you crazy?" and or awe, as most of them have served on a crew before. Even Manuel during this maneuver did not go in the rigging. He was like, "Nope, that, that is nuts." And even he stayed off the riggings during this the course of this day. Although he is, as soon as you land, he's up in there now, checking there, and he's actually in the middle of fixing a couple of small tears here and there, and a couple of places where things have weakened, or and so he's definitely grabbed Audrey, and at that point is making some adjustments and some corrections and such. And with that, as you guys have landed safely and are recharging and kind of picking things up here, we are going to cut to break. So, um, thanks. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Get some drinks, everything else, and we'll see you soon. And we're back. And I am back in my normal environment for running. So good to be back here in the studio. So, well, the ship over the course, basically a little bit of time there. Both Audrey and Eldon will let you guys know that, yes, the accumulators are charging nicely. They are pretty much at the full power. They're ready to move along. And you're able to kind of get back up into the air. As you do so, kind of get up to altitude. I will inform you that we won't need to do any more maneuvers like that unless we have to, but just an option if we in the future if we need to. But we'll be traveling on at a more normal pace in a normal way, and we should be all good. So, yeah, and Captain's like, "Let's go do it here. I don't want to have to go through that all again very often if we don't have to, but it is good to know that we can." Um, and everyone else sort of like takes up their positions and gives the all clear that everything's ready to go. And unless you guys have anything else to do or want to do before we take off, you are back up into the sky. It doesn't
I don't
take
have
very
anything.
long. Hmm?
Said I
Was
don't
that?
have anything that I want to do.
Okay. Oh, not fun. Okay. So, being where you are, um, as you get up to the sky there, you sort of get in a position, and eyes and ears will call out, Captain, we have a bit of we have a visitor. There's someone on the approach, and you kind of look out to the side there, and you will see. Doesn't take long to spot this, but you will see that there is a ship, an odd-looking ship. This is you guys over here, kind of up over the mountains there. The lush green valleys, some of the snow. And as you have been traveling south, you will notice the mountains are getting higher and higher. Um, they're getting more rocky, and the highest peaks are definitely have a lot more snow on them. It seems like the snow never quite goes away. But you will see this odd-looking ship moving toward you. And Grim, you don't know that ship specifically, but you do know the fact that, well, the ships used by Coppervale, specifically the Dwarven Trade Council, there tend to be sort of a mixture of technologies. And what you're looking at right now is a very much a Scarlos style airship with the sort of large inflatable sort of balloon-like structure with the almost like a ship dangling below it. So while there's no sails, there's definitely this sort of like large mass that gives the buoyancy, the lift essentially, and the power to stay in the air, and then propulsion based on the everything else below. Um, while you're not really a man technician there, Grim, but you definitely recognize the fact that they sort of take the best of all available technologies. Um,
They're the trade police, right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Essentially, they don't only have they do have sort of a military ships, but every airship that the Coppervale uses has multiple purposes. They'll transport goods along with troops, along with patrols and everything else. And so this is probably one of those kind of patrol ships that as you sort of approach, this thing is definitely moving toward you. It is on
Does it look
approach.
like it's gaining speed on us?
Well, essentially you're kind of moving this direction. It's kind of moving. It's almost like an intercept course. Like at some point, it's not like like moving toward you specifically, but it's definitely moving. So that your paths are going to come closer together.
All right, Captain, they're going
You
to board us.
Probably not. It's not a very smart thing to do in midair, typically, but they definitely are in the vicinity and moving in your direction, essentially. Like they're not picking up speed or barreling toward you. It's just like they're kind of definitely on approach, essentially, you call it. So, based on that, captains, it's makes sense. We're flying along the border. It would be uncommon for them not to send some sort of a ship to inquire as to our business and such. Again, we don't really recognize the ship specifically, but it is. What you'll notice is that there's actually a lot of metallic parts on this ship. It's hard to tell from a distance what the balloon portion or the blimp portion of this is made of exactly, but there's definitely the glint of metallic elements throughout not only the pieces on the side, the rudders and fins on the top, and everything else. There are heavy chains suspending this thing to the actual balloon portion. And Eyes and Ears is like, well, I don't see any weapons being brought to bear or anything else. So I think their intention is peaceful, at least, from what I can see. Captain, that's good. Good to hear. Ale's just like, holding approach, not taking any evasive maneuvers unless you give me the word, Captain. Is there anything you want to do while you're up here? Or while this is taking, anything you want to prepare for or look into before?
Are they dwarves?
While this is taking
Can I
place?
see it? I don't have a telescope or anything. But
if you ask Eyes and Ears, oh yes, the dwarven crew almost entirely, by the looks of it. Maybe some gnomes among them, but for the most part, I can say dwarves. Wouldn't be uncommon to have some gnomes.
yeah, need people for the heavy lifting.
More like the people that get into the smaller spaces.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
The dwarves are lifting, the gnomes are like,
Wow.
So,
Where's the soundboard when you need one?
yeah, no. No. So, anything? So as anything you guys do to ready yourselves, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I
It's
got my
probably
bow.
a good.
They're not
Okay.
being aggressive to us, so I'm looking at
Not
the
at all.
captain, seeing if he's worried about it, and if he's calm, cool, and collected, I'm calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, it's like,
But I'm always prepared to save the
it is-
party.
You
Okay.
keep telling yourself that. I'm going to tie myself off to the closest thing to tie myself off in case we do get into a fight or get blown up, and then I won't fall off the ship.
I'm gonna cock my head and
Okay.
look at her. I'm gonna say, "Are you gonna like offer yourself to them as a sacrifice?"
No. See,
I mean,
see what happens is we often have turbulence, and I don't want to have to try and hang on for dear life as I'm trying to squish whatever it is that's trying to
oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Okay. So when it's about maybe 100 yards away, roughly, a voice will ring out. Just obviously being projected in some way, more likely through thaumaturgy, because voice can project that way. This is the DTC Vault Flyer. Please prepare to be prepare to have a conversation with us, please. And just a voice just kind of rings out there. It's gone blurry for some reason. I don't know why.
Nope.
You're drunk.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
The focus of my camera went totally out for some reason.
Strange.
Bring your face closer
It's
to
really
him.
weird. I don't know what's happening here.
I don't know
Give me
either.
1 second. Let me try this.
You and technology today, though. Good lord.
I don't know. What's going on here. So I'll be blurry for a little bit. Sorry about that. Hopefully we'll come back into focus in a minute.
Who
So,
knows?
anyway, yes. So the ship. So the captain just kind of nods, and Ale just sort of like nudges the ship a little bit closer to them, and just but just kind of holding elevation and not making any sort of any quick sudden moves or anything. Just sort of moves into place there. The ship sort of like gets into a position where it doesn't come up like bumping into you, but definitely is coming up fairly close. Probably about 40 or 50 feet away. And with that, permission to come aboard, please.
Told you they were gonna board us.
That's why I tied us off.
Yep. So, um,
What do we lose?
what are we doing? Oh, gosh. Okay. Sorry. All right. It's really annoying me.
Can you turn your camera
okay.
off and on again, or change the settings?
I'll try that. Let me see that.
Turn it off and turn it back on again.
Have we tried turning it off and on again?
It worked.
There you go. Anyway, there you
It
go.
did.
That's
Yeah.
why it's a first suggestion.
Yeah. We're gonna force the reset out, I guess. All right. Anyway, and with that, as the captain kind of like basically waves sort of an ascent, essentially, to kind of give a kind of general direction of yes, come aboard. There'll be a flash, and two people will appear, like on the deck of the ship. Both.
Like they teleported?
Yes. Yep, the blink, and it popped into view there. And you will see it's actually a pair of gnomes. One is decked out in this crazy looking armor, and closed-faced helm, and with a long kind of a pole weapon across his back there. Would look very, very intimidating if he wasn't 3.5 feet tall. But he's decked out this really, really ornate armor there, like plate mail armor there with a pole weapon in the back. But like maybe 3'6", 3'7". And the man next to him is dressed in what is merchant's clothes. I mean, he is definitely, it's sort of that fancy looking tunic, almost like a doublet kind of thing there, the poofy pants, the big boots. And the boots, there's definitely you can spot Manatech on the merchant looking gnome. And he says, thank you very much. I am the head officer on the Vault Flyer, and my name is Fundar Vives, and I am here to make sure that you are not doing anything untoward in the Dwarven Trade Council space. What is the nature of your business here today?
Flying.
And Captain sort of like kind of, I mean, you're the one who has business, so whatever you want to tell them is up to you, essentially. Because his response would be the same as Sora, we're just flying, but you're the one with the actual like orders and such where they're going.
We are on a mixture of personal and business. Bit of shopping here, picking up some family, and going back to Ravenscrest.
It pauses for a moment. Let us see here. One moment, please. What is happening? Okay. Yes, Ravenscrest. I have heard of this place. I appreciate the information. So you're not actually working here in the Capra Vale itself. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
No, we're not. We do have a member on board who is from Coppervale. In fact, we have two.
Are you obviously present on deck there, Grimbar?
Yep.
Okay.
They're on the way down.
He would kind of like scan over. He'll scan over everybody like, very good. It is good to meet you. I don't need to know your name specifically. I just want to make sure that everyone is accounting for any sort of business that there needs to be done here. I want to make sure that there's nothing we wish to report in terms of um, any sort of business or financial situations. Yeah, Eldon's gonna be sleeping. He'll say he's passed out.
Cool. Then yeah. No, we're totally just
There
gonna go
weren't
shopping.
nobody smuggling anything, basically. Yeah.
Is that what? Are you
Yeah,
looking for
essentially, yeah.
criminal activity or?
Or rival business things that should not be here without paying the proper tariffs and trade things. Um, is there a cargo manifest of any kind? And the captain says, "With no cargo, just passengers."
I am the
Very good.
cargo.
I essentially, yeah. Um, yes. Good to know. Yes. I do not recognize the registry of this ship, but it is very common for us not to know these things. So I appreciate any information you can give us so that we know what is going on. And
It
at
is
that
registered
point,
to our name, isn't it? We did register the ship as ours
yeah,
when.
Right. But
yeah,
it may not have gotten
yeah,
to far reaches. Like,
Okay.
it's just
All right.
yeah.
registered in Port Oris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in basically in Garevon for the most part there. So, um, so they don't always transfer all of those registration informations across to other countries as well.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you have an international business license. Essentially, is what it kind of comes down to. But you're not trying to do business. You're more of a passenger transport vessel than you are a merchant vessel. Um, so, with that, as there was no merchant activities going on, I appreciate your time. And at that point, um, eyes and ears, uh, Captain, we have a problem. Uh, um, uh, we there is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain, like
Start looking around.
approaching from the ground, many contacts, and as you Sora, can you actually? Are you tied off to the point where you can get to the railing of the ship?
I am tied to the railing of the ship, yes.
Okay, so you look over the side there, and anyone else goes look over the side there. You will see moving up from the hillsides on the mountainsides along the edge here. Let me just you will see a number of dark shapes kind of hurtling upward. Large winged creatures of some kind. What you can spot immediately is dark shapes, like long, sinewy, wide wings, a large ruff of what looks to be fur around the heads, long bodies there, definitely not scaly. Um,
Wyverns?
these have a Nope, definitely not. There's no scales on these things as you start to see. You see fur, like a rough, like a mane of hair that's kind
Oh,
of
those
whipping
things
back
we
there.
fought. That thing that we
Um,
fought and got away.
and what you're seeing
I'm trying to remember.
are
We don't typically run away
uh,
from fights.
you think you've seen
Apes?
anything specifically? Hmm?
What are these
Definitely
things?
not draked. No. What you'll spot also is kind of behind a long tail covered in these long, dark spikes.
Manticores.
Cool.
I don't
Yep.
think Sora's ever seen a
Um,
manticore.
and they are hurtling up. I would say that anyone who spent time around the mountains has probably seen these things. You've probably seen pictures of them. They're fairly famous in terms of like those things essentially manticores and griffins are sort of the natural enemies on these mountains.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's not uncommon. They're not normally seen, but they are definitely not uncommon. Um, they're not necessarily that common, but they're not unheard of. So
This
they are sort of rushing up and sort of flying up. You see some flying up toward their ship, some flying up toward your ship. And in just a moment here, let me pull up our turn order. Let's go ahead and get some initiative rolls. They are definitely rocketing toward your direction.
Oh, forgot. I got it. We don't have tokens. We gotta put
Yep.
those on there.
Oh yeah, put your token. Put your tokens on somewhere on the thing there. We'll assume you're kind of clustered around your ship for the most part here, and that's fine.
So I got an
Just to be
18.
I'm gonna
nice.
tell those two gnomes that these things are closing in on both ships, so that they need to get themselves somewhere safe, ASAP. Whether it be on this ship or elsewhere, just get somewhere safe.
Go ahead and let me put you. Just drag your click on your name and drag it over onto the map or onto the picture. And just anywhere up by Lucas there will be fine. And then once your token's selected, click on your initiative button.
It's not doing it.
Okay, let me try this here. Let me just I'll bring you out here. What's going on? There you go. And then I'll roll your initiative. That should work. There you go. Oh, wow, nice. So, oh, wrong way. All right. So, based on what you're seeing here, these things are probably about 100 feet away at this point as they're flying up toward you very quickly. They sort of they seem to have like launched themselves up from the mountainsides, and you're maybe a couple hundred feet up there, so they just kind of flew up there as sort of their first move when they were spotted. With that,
Jim,
yeah, go ahead.
or just I've got a 19 out of 24.
Okay, I can put that out there. Right. Okay. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Okay. All right. So Amethyst, you are seeing two of them racing up toward you guys, and then sort of two more, and then one sort of is you're not sure where it's going exactly, but it's sort of in the middle.
We don't have that extra hit points right now, right? That all
We-
faded
we-
away.
No,
No. We took
Yeah.
a long rest. So our
Did we?
our
Yeah.
temporary hit points are gone.
It's been a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's been a little over a day since you guys. Yeah. So Amethyst, they're about 100 feet away from you, so you definitely are in range of a lot of things you want to do to them.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Put them to
Sorry.
sleep
Okay.
is good. Sleeping is good.
I'm thinking about it. I was just trying to open it up to read it rather than posting it, but I did that. Yeah, maybe just hit both of them with sleep, but then if a creature is flying and you put them to sleep, do they just like hurtle to the ground or do they just sort of
Yep.
hover? Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, oh
Yeah, they
dear.
stop flying.
And then they hit the ground and they wake
You
up,
do know
I'm
that
assuming.
if they survive the fall.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say just to make you aware there, yeah, you have to exceed their hit points in order to make them fall asleep. So you have no idea how tough these things are.
Yeah, indeed.
You can do a single target one with your wand and do double the hit point. Don't forget.
Yeah. Maybe it'd be worth just doing that, just putting one of them to sleep and then handling one of them for now.
If you can roll high enough.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, at least I can try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll. Roll 5d8 and double it. Okay, so you pull out your wand. Sort of the little sparkles there. You wait a little bit there.
60.
60 total. You will see kind of the kind of the puff of magic surrounding it there as it's moving up toward you. Right at the very edge of your range, we'll say, because it's only 90 feet normally, but well, it is a sphere, so you basically got to hit them with it with the sphere that kind of goes off at the very edge of your range and puffs into its face. It sort of like pauses for a moment there. The wings kind of flutter for a second there, but then it keeps going. Has more than 60 hit points.
Okay. Oh well.
Yep. Anything else you want to do? Bonus action, or I assume probably not much of a move because you're the deck of the ship.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Grim, you can definitely see. You saw some puff of magic go off there. It sort of faltered for a moment, but then kept flying.
Okay. Well, I'll just aim at that one. She gave me a target, and I'm going to pull my bow and fire.
Okay. I will say this, since you're not moving anywhere and you're on the deck of a ship there, one of the things you can do as a rogue there is steady aim, which basically you can just you spend your bonus action to then give yourself advantage.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way you can roll with advantage and you'll get sneak attack. Just pointing that out there.
Yep. Okay. What is the
You don't need to do anything with steady aim. You just basically call it out and then just
yeah, I'm
do your normal attack
steady
roll.
aim. I'm just seeing if advantage. There it is.
Yeah. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So here we go. Did that go through?
Not yet. I've not seen it
No.
yet.
18.
Yeah, I got an 18.
Okay. 18 will definitely hit.
It does hit. Right.
Yep. Go ahead and roll your damage. Add your sneak attack.
All right. So sneak attack damage. It's 38 damage.
Okay. 38. Poof. Yeah. You just bury an arrow into this thing. It sort of it lands in the middle of its back and just buries itself almost to the fletchings, like deep into the thing there. It cries out in pain. And it has a strangely almost human-like face. It's not really it's a lion-shaped body, but the face is a little bit more humanoid than it is cat-like.
Are these the things that we fought that one time and one of them got away?
No, I don't think you've seen these guys yet.
Okay.
I don't think you did.
No. Haven't seen these.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely, like, as it falters there, it does keep flying, but it's that you can see kind of that arrow sticking back there. It's sort of like having to work a lot harder to fly than the one next to it.
Is it the Yeth Hounds you're thinking of?
Oh yeah, the Yeth Hounds are those are they're very different from those.
The hounds with human faces.
Yeah, it's more just like, I mean, you can click on the tokens there and kind of blow them up. You want to zoom in on those tokens. Actually, maybe I can do that right here. Let me see here if I bring up the image. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. You can see that. Yeah, and instead of a scorpion-like tail, it's a big tail with spikes off it, not a scorpion tail. And the one difference there is that these guys are very dark fur, dark hair, and the ridges of kind of the spines of their wings are almost black, and then sort of a reddish colored membrane, kind of bat-like wings flowing off of it, and these massive black colored spikes. Which both Lucas and Grim, reading from this area there, you would know a lot of the avian type things of the Airy Mountains are strangely dark colored feathers and such. It's not that's not uncommon for this part of the world, that most of the birds and other things that have feathers in this area are dark colored feathers. So dark colored fur on a flying creature in this area is not uncommon. All right, Sora, these things are out here.
You said they're like 120 feet away.
100 feet away, yep.
100 feet. I'm gonna jump with my 50-foot rope off the ship, and then yell,
Okay.
and then yell at them to come at me.
Okay.
Why are you jumping off?
Everything that I can do.
Okay.
Are they below the ship?
They're coming up toward you. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Breath weapon. I can
Yeah.
breath weapon.
They came from the ground. They'd be about 40 feet away. You can definitely hold an action when they get closer. If you want to hold hold the specific action for when they get in range of you.
I'm gonna hold breath weapon for when they get into range of me. That's what I'm gonna
I'm
do.
gonna move you sort of down below the ship, kind of like that, so that way we're sort of seeing approximately where everyone is, kind of this way.
I'm
Shift
hanging
you
below
around
the
so
ship with my hammers out,
Yeah.
ready to go, screaming at them.
Okay, let me just try something here. I want to put it like a. Okay. Let me roll for the other one as well, just so I can see. Okay. They both take note of you, obviously. So you basically seeing there. You're not sure if they're both going to attack you or not, but they're definitely. I mean, they have noticed you at least. And so, what are you going to prep? What action are you going to hold?
Breath weapon.
Breath weapon. Okay. All right. Lucas, you just saw Sora hurtle over the edge,
Yeah.
but there was a rope tied around her waist, so you know that much.
How close are these two over here?
About 100 feet.
From each other, I meant.
Over each other, maybe about 30 feet away from each other. That's sort of kind of like the kind of both moving up there. They kind of launch themselves up from the ground in different angles, but they're converging, so they're probably going to be both like kind of coming up at different angles there, coming this way. So at this point, you're still about 30 feet away.
Yeah, go to tried and trusted.
Okay. 20-foot sphere will put that near between them. It should hit both of them. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So let me go ahead and make their saves, dex saves. First one, 13. Second one, whoa, nice. Okay. Wow, Krayaz goes crazy. A 1 and a 20 on the second one. But the one's what matters. So yeah, they both take the damage. This one, the one that got hit by Grimm's arrow there, just is immolated as it just the fire just licks up inside there, and it completely falters. You see its wings sort of disintegrate, and it sort of like screeches this loud screech there, and just goes hurtling down toward the ground. This one, however, takes it and keeps going. It's still definitely it's definitely the fur is singed, and patches of it are somewhat smoking, and but you can see it's definitely burned by the fire pretty significantly. All right, what's our speed? Yep. Okay. And Lucas, as the flames sort of clear and kind of in there, you will spot that there are two more launching their way up from the ground, um, heading up this direction. Anything else you do, Lucas? Who says that?
I'll give Body of Inspiration to Amethyst.
Okay. This Lucas was going to kind of inspiring words behind you there, getting ready as kind of moving on there. This one here, Sora, as you are now in range of it, it's going to fly up and try to attack you. You have a breath weapon prepared there, so basically you breathe out as it gets into range of you. What do you, as the lightning spews forth?
Dexterity save at 15, but then it will take 19 lightning damage.
Ooh, makes
Ooh.
that save. So it definitely takes some damage. But then it sort of like screeches and comes flying in there. And you see it as it sort of flaps its wings. It starts to try to claw at you with those the front claws there, and trying to bite at you as it tries to do all this. The bite 22.
No.
Do not have a shield currently. You're You have 2 hammers out right now, so there's no.
Yeah.
So
But I'm looking at it and it says armor class of 24. Let me see if it's still counting my shield.
I think it is, but what you have activated. Remember, the shield gives you still get plus. The ring gives you still +2 AC, but it doesn't give you +4 AC.
Trying
Make sure it's.
to. I did activate the shield. So 22.
Yeah, but you have a hammer in your hand.
22
Okay,
would be
so it
my
does
AC.
hit with the 22.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
There we go.
so 11 piercing damage from the bite, and then 2 claws. 22 again for 5 slashing, and 19. Wow, rolled really well on those rolls. But yeah, so a total of 16 damage as it bites and claws you. And the other claw you manage to kind of push out of the way with the force of the shield ring that's there.
Uh-huh.
And then these 2 will basically hurtle up this way, about that far, about halfway up. This one's going to turn and bank and go this way, so it's about there. And these 2 are up on this ship now. So you see the other ship now. The wings are flapping. It's sort of a and the crew there at the point is like shooting things out at them, and there's definitely people with pole arms that are slashing out at them. You can kind of see the fight is on with these guys over here. And with that, Amethyst, top of the round. One on Sora, 2 more about 50 feet away.
Yeah.
And actually, and 3 total of 3 about 50 feet away.
How
these
close
2
are
here.
these 3? How close are they to one another?
Well, this one, these ones down here are about 100 feet away, about 30 feet apart. This one's 50 feet away because Sora's at the bottom of a 50-foot rope.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically, and this one's yeah, so these 2 are about 30 feet apart, 100 feet away. This one's on Sora 50 feet away, and this one's about 50 feet away as well.
I might use something on those 2 that are together.
Go for it. Okay, nice. This will not go well. Okay.
And then creature with intelligence score of 2 or lower cannot be affected.
Oh. But they're more done with that. That's fine.
Okay, good.
Yep.
It's an intelligence saving throw.
Yep, they both fail it.
Good. So 86 psychic damage. After a failed save, a target has muddled thoughts for 1 minute. During that time, it rolls a d6 and subtracts the number rolled from all its attack rolls and ability checks, as well as Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration. They can make an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of their turns.
Okay. Well, they need to roll 20s, so awesome. And I'll just kind of put the muddle there. The only problem I have with that spell is having to keep track of that. It's so annoying.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I remember to subtract d6 from everything they ever do from here on out. It's like, well, it's kind of a waste of time. But yeah, we got this. So they're definitely kind of, you can see them kind of disoriented, and they're still flying up toward you, but they're definitely showing signs of being disoriented. Yeah, absolutely. And anything else as a bonus action or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. In that case, Grimbar.
I am
Sora
going to.
is. Yeah. Good.
I'm going to shoot one that's on Sora.
Excellent. Yeah.
Is there any, there's that the only ones on us are on Sora, correct? There's
Currently,
none
yes.
actually
Yeah.
coming up to the ship.
Well, they're still moving up toward the ship there, but this one, Sora is dangling from a rope 50 feet down, and this one's like flying there, attacking her. So that's the rest are all moving toward the ship, but they're not actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So
they're still a little ways out.
I'm going to steady aim.
Okay.
And I'm going to shoot on one. The one that she
So-
just burped on.
Sure.
Burp. Burp.
Let me see if the music's going to work now. Sorry. Let's see.
So I got another 18. I still
Yes, that definitely hits.
Don't stop
And
it.
yes, sneak attack does apply.
All right, so
Now, 8, you had advantage plus Sora's and melee, so
yeah,
it doubly applies. We can get this.
36 damage.
Nice. Okay. And that one, yep, it's taken some fire and taken some. Yeah, that'll work. And been blasted by some lightning. And so it drops away from Sora, screeching and falling toward the ground.
That was Vikill. What are you doing? If you want to come down here and fight, then fly.
You're not
Well,
flying, you're
Sora?
dangling on a rope.
Shh, don't ruin my immersion.
Okay, Sora. Yeah, there are 2 that are flying up toward you here, and then one's flying up kind of toward the ship. It's not flying directly at you, but these 2 are coming up. The 2 below you are coming up in your direction, and this one's kind of coming at an angle there toward the ship.
And how far away are they from me?
50 feet.
50 feet?
Yeah.
I guess I'm yelling again.
Okay. You're calling out them. And so readying. What are you ready? What are you readying?
I'm hoping that they're gonna be smart enough to attack me. So instead of readying an action, can I do a bonus action spell of
Sure.
Searing Smite?
Sure.
Cool.
Well, you're ready an attack. So essentially, you'll use your reaction once they get in a range to hit them. So,
Sweet.
okay, all right. So you have an attack ready. You also have a Searing Smite ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lucas. This one is moving in your direction, sort of like flying kind of at an angle toward you.
Yep.
As you're looking in that direction toward him, give me a free perception check. See if you spot something. Okay, good enough. You will see that there is another one that has launched itself and is moving up this way. It is decidedly larger than the rest. It is the same general shape, but it is massively, it dwarfs the rest of them around. These are all a good 8, 10 feet. Well, from nose to tail, about 12 feet long. This thing is easily double that. And it is flying up. It's sort of flying like straight up for the moment there, so you're not really sure which way it's going at this point. But it is flying just straight up from the ground, just kind of in between the. So there's no sure which way it's going to go, but it's a good 150 feet away at this point there, as it's still down below, as it just launched itself from the ground.
I'll stick with a fireball. Go for these 2 down here.
Okay. All right. So another fireball detonates in midair between these 2. That sound effect doesn't affect saving throws, does it? It's just attack rolls and ability checks.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Just double checking there, make sure. All right. Dex save. No and no. And oof, they definitely screech out. Sort of, yeah, Anything else you're doing?
No, that's fine for now.
They sort of bank away, both sort of like kind of hurtling away in the direction there. This one comes essentially pushing up to about not quite to the ship, but then Lucas, you see it sort of like rear up and or and you see it sort of like rear up its legs, and then the tail comes out and fires a spike at you on the deck of the ship there as you just have been launching fireballs essentially. 19 to hit.
That's a hit, yeah.
Only 5 piercing damage there as a spike just sort of like just kind of thuds into kind of into your chest there. Just, yep. There is that. These that sort of banked away are going to both fire spikes at you, Sora, since they're sort of um as you are now.
I do
Yeah.
still have both hammers out ready to go, so.
Okay. 23 for 4 piercing.
Mm-hmm.
As it just pings off there and kind of scratches along your scales, and the other one misses completely.
They still have to subtract a d6 from the
Yes, thank you.
attack
Reminding
roll.
me.
Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, it's
I know.
reminding me. 20, so it misses. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was the hope.
Yep. Well, I'm going to forget every turn, so you're going to remind me every turn.
Yeah,
So
I'll
never
that's
remember it.
fine. That's fine.
Yep. Because I definitely
No, Jim.
I'll
can't
try
keep
not
track
to.
as well.
I'll
Yeah.
try not to cast anything
Even
else
though-
that you have to keep track.
Okay, it's all right. It's
Always
yeah.
have to remember it. You always have to remember it. You're the DM. That's
Yeah.
how that works.
No,
No.
You remember your concentration. You remember the effects you put on them. I marked them to remind us, but I'm not going to remember all your spell effects.
Well, synaptic static doesn't actually. It's not a concentration spell.
Right. That's why the effect is on them, and you don't have a concentration dot on you or anything else. So, yep, it affects them for a minute. Okay. Let's see these guys here. Let me double check something real quick. What is the range on that? Okay. Yeah. The large one from the ground, it doesn't really have a shot at anything except for the dangling blue thing from the ship over there. It's going to go ahead and fire a spike up at you, Sora.
For God's sake.
I'll be fine. I can swing.
Yep. It
Do we
rolled
get-
terribly.
Yeah, do we get partial cover because we're standing
Yeah.
behind the railing?
Somewhat,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, from below, yes. From the one up above, it's at this point up here. This guy was is flying up there. It's actually not very far away when it fires at Lucas. One's from below firing up, yes, but Sora doesn't get any cover, obviously.
No. And I don't deserve
yeah.
any.
She
It's
gets
okay.
a moving target, right? She gets the bonus
No.
for being a moving target.
No, she's
No?
literally dangling there with no dexterity, just kind of like, here I am.
Not that dexterity is my forte.
Doesn't matter. You can't dodge anything right now. There's no dodging. You're like, pink, okay, bouncing up my armor. Pink, okay, good. Didn't penetrate.
Well, she's just our weight. She's our anchor. She's holding
Yeah,
us
pretty
up.
much. It's just kind of dangling down there. Okay, let's see here. That was them. Some more stuff happens over on this the flying vault, or the vault flyer, I mean. Amethyst. You got more stuff coming up here. You see one kind of, it's now hovering sort of like off the deck of the ship there. Actually, it's kind of up here a little bit above you guys. And it fired a tail spike at Lucas. But it is kind of maybe about 20 feet away from you at this point. About 50, actually about 30 feet away, because yeah, it's about, depending on where you are on the deck of the ship there, you can move to the edge of the air and be about 15 feet away.
Okay. Let's do that.
Okay. Ooh, yikes. Yeah. And that makes him move away if he fails it, which he probably will.
Okay,
Yep. Okay.
good.
Take some damage.
I love me some intelligence saves.
Wisdom. Yep.
Oh, wisdom, sorry.
And so it moves away. About 65 feet away from you now. A little closer this direction.
Great.
Uses his reaction to move away from you. Okay. Anything else you're doing?
No, but I'm keeping my eye on Sora.
Okay. Sora's just dangling there.
She's
Yeah.
having fun. She's having
Bait on the
much
hook.
fun. She's so much fun right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, Grimbar. You see these sort of like kind of like moving around, sort of like moving around in various directions here. This one just suddenly flew away from the ship.
Well, that's the one I'm going to fire at.
Okay.
And I rolled a 27 to hit.
Definitely hits.
It's not a crit, unfortunately.
No.
And
Well,
I do not get
only if you use steady aim. If
yes,
you use steady aim, then yeah,
I
you
would-
do. Because as long as you have an advantage or an ally in melee, you can do sneak attack. Which you had advantage on the attack roll because of steady aim. So you basically can do
lousy
the
roll. 21
Okay.
points.
Okay. Yeah, it thuds into there. It is kind of, sort of flying away. It doesn't stink like hard into it there, but it definitely gouges along its flank there. You see it falter and sort of try to bank out of the way of it there. But the arrow just okay. All right. Anything else? Since that was Sora. You are still maintaining concentration on the searing smite. Nothing's coming close to you to attack you. You are just dangling there like a worm on a hook.
Yeah, but now I'm yelling and screaming and kicking.
Sure.
Trying to get their attention.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got their attention. They just, as they moved in closer, they kept getting hit by spells like fireballs and everything else. So they kind of spread apart and fired their range attacks at you. Yeah, a fireball hit them and synaptic state hit them. So they've been fireballed. They're looking very singed and muddled.
Oh.
But they are still
So
with not within 30 feet of me. So
No.
I do have this though. I still would like to attack Jim.
Sure.
I have the Spellbreaker Javelin.
What's the range on that?
I don't know. It's a javelin. You gave it to me.
Well, look it up.
30 to 120.
Okay. At the beyond 30, it's going to be a disadvantage.
I don't care. I'd throw it.
Okay. Bye-bye, javelin.
Oh, that's right. If I do throw it, I can't get it back, can I?
Well, even if it hit, it's going to be embedded in the thing there, and
It goes down. Yeah, there's nothing I can do.
okay. All right. So ready to attack in case they come close again, I guess.
That's the one. If they
Okay.
decide to.
Lucas.
No. I do have both hammers, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, that has to hit a point and not specifically on a creature. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, a creature can be a point if you're talking about throwing the one hammer.
I am.
Okay.
I can do that. Yeah. Okay. Then I will throw it. I will throw it because I can bonus action bring it back to me.
Sure.
That's what I'll do.
One time. Yep.
I'm gonna chuck it at the big guy. Can I
What's the
reach him?
range?
No, I don't think I can reach him.
Probably not. He's what's the range on it? Is it's 120 feet?
Yes.
Probably just within that range. Sure, go for it. You want to give it a shot?
Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Because, it can't hurt.
Mm-hmm. Can if you manage to hit.
22.
Yeah, it hits.
And one-handed is a 13 damage plus all that fire stuff, right? 15 dexterity saving throw.
Yeah.
And I'll take...
Ignore that second one there. It definitely saves it. Okay.
Half a 19 then.
All right. Okay. All right. That's going to be okay. Yeah, there's a brilliant flare of light as this hammer thuds into it and then explodes in fire. The thing actually just is beating its massive wings there. It sort of like thuds and winces at the fire a little bit, but it keeps on going. It kind of bursts up through the fireball as it goes there. Bonus action comes back.
But yeah, because I don't have the bonus action for Searing Smite going.
Yeah.
Cool beans. That's it. Bonus action comes back. I have both hammers.
Okay. 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 In that case, yeah, Lucas, it was your turn since you're all set.
How far away from me is the big guy?
From you about 150 feet. Because it was just within 120 for Sora, and she's 50 feet away from you, so more like 170. I mean, because of angles and stuff.
How far above the ground is that one at the top?
Oh, you guys are probably about 200 feet up or so it's about 200 feet to the ground, roughly. I mean, it is sort of a valley, so it depends on which way it falls as to how far it is, but like directly from the base there, probably about 200 feet up.
So I'm going to get the lyre out, and I'm going to cast Hypnotic Pattern on him.
Okay. Okay. This will not go well. Nope. Okay. So now it's effectively stunned. Is that how that worked? Or what was that?
It's incapacitated. They can't take
Great.
or reactions.
Okay. Actions or reactions. Yeah, okay, it's fine. So yeah, it just sort of like stops doing what it's doing there and just starts to go toward the ground. So sort of kind of about because it was flying away and just sort of like stops flapping its wings and just starts hurtling downward. Anything else you want to do? And that's concentration, right? Maintain that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just put a red dot on you so I know you're concentrating. Okay.
I'm done.
Anything else? Okay. They get to go. Let's see. Let's see. They're about. Sure, this one's gonna basically hurtling back towards Sora because why not? They're sort of muddled. This one's gonna fly upward. So the double move is right above the ship. Okay, just right up above you guys. Can't attack, but there it is. This one continues to fall. These two do something, and this one races up. So on Sora, the one on you, we'll go ahead and start to try and claw and bite. Just flailing of claws and teeth. 1, 2, and the bite. Let's see, roll natural 20. They can't hit you. Right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And even if they get a natural 20,
Natural 20 always hits.
Oh, yeah.
Always hits. Otherwise, I'd never be able to hurt you guys with your 25 ACs.
I haven't got 25 AC.
Some of you do. At times. Yep. And Eldon can get up there too. So when he's up there. So anyway, yeah. You will see as this one's falling like toward the ground. This one sort of like is flapping up sort of almost between the two ships there. And it turns and just its tail flashes up there and just unleashes like dozens and dozens of spikes over to here. And you see it just thud into the balloon. And these two are just flapping and flailing around the side there. They've definitely been taking some hits. But the balloon here, unfortunately, takes a massive amount of damage. Not. Let me remove that. That shouldn't be that. We'll just call it this. As it starts to tilt and go down toward the ground. It's not free falling, but it is definitely not able to keep altitude right now as it's heading down toward the ground.
Damn.
And let me put on him. Let me just mark that he's got that.
Are those two names still on our ship?
Yes, they are, in fact.
So
Effectively, the one is just sort of hunkered down there, and the other one has a spear, just sort of like keeping guard, and just anything gets close there, it's trying to do something.
I want to ask him how many people are on board.
Is this really the time to be approximately a crew of 20?
Cheers.
Like I said, it's not crashing; it's just not maintaining altitude at this point. It's not, the balloon hasn't deflated or anything else. That has not exploded. It's just literally
It hasn't
like
taken catastrophic damage yet.
right, but
Right.
enough that it can't maintain its flying in the air at the point as it's heading toward the ground. That is them. So Amethyst. This one is flapping its wings up above you. It's sort of above the ship there, sort of you see its tail thrashing around. It's singed. It's obviously. Oh, let me roll their saves real quick here. I forgot to do that. Nope. Wow. 0. Great.
Wow. Wow.
They have a -2. They have to roll a natural 20 in order to save. So
Wow. Nice.
yeah, they're not animal intelligence, but they're not intelligent by any means.
That's what I was hoping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to Eldritch Blast this guy. I get 3.
Okay.
3 beams at 11.
Okay. Make those attacks. It hits. They're not armored. They just have thick hides and some decks. Hit. Hit. All 3 hits.
Okay.
I will just say this because you can't roll low enough at this point. Well, let's see how well. If you roll all ones, it could do, but 13. Okay, yeah. And the first lance sort of pierces the membrane of the wing that's already been sort of burned away, and it sort of like flaps and flails at it there. The second one actually burns through its shoulder, and the whole like right like wing goes limp, and the last one sort of burns directly through the chest, and just sort of like just thuds through the chest there, and it screeches in pain. Let me roll something real quick.
Way to feel somebody guilty. I mean, make somebody feel guilty.
As it screeches and starts to flail, Ale at the helm banks the ship a little bit, but unfortunately it does kind of thud into the deck there and actually kind of tear some of the rigging. Not enough to cause any problems per se right now, but it does kind of thud on the deck right next to you, Lucas. So the body sort of thuds there, partially hanging off, like its tail is hanging off the side, but it is there. It just misses you. Give me a dex save to see if you low DC, but just to see if you get hit by it as it lands. Oh, okay.
Rolls a 1.
Let's see. We'll go ahead and just so 8 bludgeoning damage as this thing sort of like and hits you partially.
Damn.
It does also then partially pin you to the deck as it lands on you. You can spend your move action kind of pulling yourself up. You're not actually like immobilized. You're just suddenly knocked prone, essentially, is what it is. You can spend your move action to stand and get out from underneath it. But for the moment, you're prone. And let's go ahead and mark that dude.
Two.
All right. Grimbar. You see one flapping and flailing at Sora. You see the big one is heading up. It
And
just unleashed this barrage.
I'm gonna steady aim, and I'm gonna aim at the big one.
Okay. So you kind of move to the side of the ship there.
Now the advantage is all that does is give me an extra dice, right?
Although I want to point out here, you won't be able to steady aim because you have to move to the other side of the ship, and you can only steady aim if you don't move. And you can't get an because you're on the opposite side of the ship firing down where Sora is. So you would need to actually move in order to get into a position to fire at the big one since it's on the opposite side of the ship from you. So you wouldn't be able to steady aim.
I'll just stay where I'm at and kill it. Kill the one on Sora.
Okay,
hopefully.
cool.
So she left. What happened to her?
Oh, the camera's blank. She's okay.
Oh,
She's I had to cover her camera for a moment. So go ahead and take the shot.
The advantage is it gives me 2d20.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay. Yep, that definitely hits. And I would say based on the damage it's taken so far, yeah, so it's flapping its wings. It's been scratching and flailing at Sora. You just kind of line the shot up there and it just pierces straight through the head. Sora, it's a force arrow, so it just sort of lights up its eyes and the mouth and everything else as this bolt of force hits through the head there, and then it just goes limp and falls away.
Yeah, I did 37 points of damage to it.
It only had 8 damage left. So,
do I get an extra? Do I get a move so I can get to the other side of the ship now?
No, because you had to steady aim. So basically, you said yeah.
Okay.
Next turn you could, yeah. Yeah. All right, Sora, there you are, dangling away. You see the big one over here. He just got got hit. Yeah, no worries. The one that was attacking you just got hit by that arrow and then is falling away from you now.
I'm going to attempt to climb back up because I cannot do anything else at the moment, and I can't reach anything else.
Okay. As you look there are some more sort of like at the ground level, sort of like hovering low. By the way, so this one thuds into the ground and takes 20d6.
Nice. I'm assuming that died then.
Well, why did it take 20d6? What did it do?
Terminal velocity.
Oh, nice.
That's what it was. 200 feet up when it fell, so it takes basically 1d6 for every 10 feet it falls, up to 20d6, which is what it hit. So we'll just see what this looks like because
Look, it's incapacitated it.
Nope, that's not right. What's it doing? It's not rolling.
Don't put a space between.
Don't put a space.
Oh, the 20d6. That's what it's doing. I see that. I got it. It's been a while since I used that. Okay, there we go. 60 damage.
Wow.
Yep. It just goes and doesn't move. Thuds into the ground. Yep, and just is just on the ground there, just thud. Yeah. So Sora, you want to climb up? Or do you want to see if any more are going to flap toward you?
Right now I'm not thinking they're going to climb up, seeing as how, we just put down a bunch of them, and yeah, climbing up seems to be the better thing. But what I really wanted to do is see if I could start swinging the rope to then launch myself at the big guy as I cut the rope. But that's like way too many actions. But
you can definitely try if you want to start swinging.
If you want to take 60, 20 d6 damage and.
No, she's not 200 feet up. More like 12 d6 damage.
Yeah.
That's 120 damage if he rolls max.
I'll be alright.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So you want to start swinging?
No, it's 360. Yeah. Well, 360 damage.
I have to start swinging before I get
Yeah.
to the apex, and then once I
Sure.
get to the apex, I'll cut the rope and try to land on the big boss. But that's not this turn. That'll probably be like next turn, I'm assuming.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What do you want me to roll?
Okay. Nothing yet.
Okay.
Essentially, you kind of use your momentum to start swinging back and forth, and just and so it kind of basically, I'll just the idea that you're here, then you're here, then you're here, and so you're kind of basically swinging out there.
Mhm.
We'll see if this guy notices you as you're doing this.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lucas, you're up. You see the big guy. At this point, it is turned and looking up toward you now, I should say. It just unleashed that barrage in this way, but it's kind of looking up in direction. There's the wings flapping. As I said, it's a good 40-foot wingspan, rough. Actually, about 20 to 30-foot wingspan somewhere in there. This is rough. It's roughly the size of a drake. Those distances they're kind of relative distances, so they're not exact. So if you want to know how far, let me know.
Just multiply it by 3 is what I was thinking, but okay.
Roughly. I mean, yeah.
You really do range spells, I think.
The big one? Okay.
Yeah, let's try something a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, hold monster on it.
Let's see. Wisdom saving throw. Let's see if we can roll decent.
Ooh.
Not with a 7. Does not have advantage. So if that other one roll went first. So yeah, it is held.
If I see Sora swinging, I'll give her
Yep.
body inspiration.
Okay. Sure.
Shout encouragement down to her.
You kind of see this this little this blue pendulum just like swinging below the ship there, and as Sora kind of comes out to the apex of the swing on one side there, you're like, oh, you're doing great.
You can do
You
it,
can
Sora.
do it.
Exactly. Okay. It gets to try to break out of that because it's starting to fall now. And with a 20, it manages to it drops a ways there and just sort of and it just as the ground is racing up toward there, it just sort of snaps out of it and starts flapping its wings to kind of move up toward there. But that is its turn there, so it lost a good 50, 60 feet there. So, but it's definitely flapping its wings and heading up now. The ship here is sort of moving down toward the ground as well. It's not quite to the ground yet, but like I said, it's not crashing. It's just descending. And so it'll land on the ground next turn essentially. However, you do see Sora from your point of view as you're lunging up there, as it's getting closer to the ground. There are 1, 2, 3 more that are now heading up toward it.
Oh,
Yes.
really? That's
They are
good.
definitely going to get swarmed, as the ones that were swirling around there are seeing the other ship heading toward the ground there, and they're flapping their wings toward it.
So I'm not gonna Kool-Aid Man through a wall, but I am definitely Kool-Aid Manning toward that griffin-looking thing. Yep.
Okay. Amethyst. Yeah, you see the ship is heading toward the ground there, and there's a swarm of manticores moving around it at this point.
Yeah. I
Um,
want to know how close they all are to one another.
I mean, how close do you want them to be? Or do you need them to be? They're all flying toward it there. They're about 150 feet away from you. And they're just sort of and at that, they're fairly close. I mean, depending on what are you trying to do?
Well, I have
Mhm.
the boots of flying that Eldon gave to me.
Sure.
which give me a fly speed. So
You
do
do-
I
You have to
need to
cast
use
them
an?
to Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a use action, basically a use action item to, so you have to basically cast the spell initially to
Right.
make it work. Yeah, so it'll be your
Okay.
action. But you would have your move at that point to kind of move from that point on.
Yeah. Grr. Okay. Like, I think 120 feet is the longest that I can.
1 second, let me check real fast. Hold please just a moment.
Mm.
Let's pull something up real quick here and double check this. Okay, because it's fun. In here. Nope. Okay. From the um from the cargo and the below decks essentially. Basically you will see your red carpet come moving up to bob up next to you, and Bert is sitting on it and it is flying.
Oh, Bert.
And he tells in your head you hear and the phrase is voles.
Voles?
Voila.
Voles.
What does
So
that mean?
volare is actually fly in Spanish or in Italian. It's voles.
Okay.
Voila.
And essentially you could step onto it and then fly. It is a 3x5 flying carpet with an 80-foot fly speed. It'll only hold one person.
And a cat.
Well, the cat's gonna hop off. He's not going with you.
Okay. All right.
No,
Good. Thank you.
he got it up there like, oh no, I'm done, and hopped off of it, and it's sort of like hovering there next to you. It has a capacity of 200 pounds and 80-foot fly speed.
Bert, you are awesome.
He sort of bobs its head and then ducks back down the stairs.
This is awesome.
So you can,
yeah, fly past Sora and go, "Hey, Sora, look at me."
yep. So you could not hop on because it will not hold you. You'll go hurtling to the ground. Sora wouldn't know this though, so I'm just kind of pointing that out. There's not much space. It's only a 3x5 carpet, so Amethyst is sitting on it, taking up almost all the space on the carpet itself.
It's also not my turn, and I had something way cooler in mind.
Okay, not a problem there. So you gotta fly down there a ways. Okay. Anything else you want to do? That's your movement, Amethyst.
That was my movement. Bless you.
Mm-hmm.
Gee. You know what?
Chicken butt.
Okay. Let's kind of spread. So we'll kind of spread these out a little bit because these guys are down. I'm gonna put this guy all the way down at the base of the bottom here. These guys are all moving sort of this way. This guy's down here, and well, that's a little bit more relative movement there, essentially. Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah.
These guys are all on the ground as well because they've all thudded in the ground at this point.
You're not gonna like me very much.
Whatever.
I'm gonna do. I can't find it. Where's it gone? There we go.
What is it? What are you doing?
Because it's a 20-foot radius sphere, so I'm not sure how many you'll get on that.
So they're all flying in pretty close formation there. So I mean, it would probably get the three of them that are flying in this direction.
Okay.
If you put it into the three of them, you could probably get all three of them.
Synaptic static.
Sure.
Again.
Yep.
Sorry, Jim.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Nice.
So they'll each take some damage.
34 psychic.
Yep. Just marking them off now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they each are domed.
Ugh.
They're
Okay.
confused.
All right. So that happens. Let's see. Yeah, you can see. So Amos hop up on a little red little carpet there and fly over the edge. Fire off a big, kind of a shimmery ball of energy down in the group down here toward they're heading toward the descending council ship. Lucas is going to be pulling himself out from underneath or actually did already pull himself out from underneath a Manicore carcass there. And Sora is swinging down below like a pendulum.
And I'm going to stand up in the front, right
Okay.
there can I move and take a steady aim or no?
No, you can't.
I don't know how far I would have to move to get to that point.
You'd have to move not far, like about maybe 15, 20 feet. But if you move at all, you can't steady aim. It's like it has to be perfectly basically standing still. So, I mean, you could ready an action, ready an attack. Seeing what Sora is doing, you can kind of piece together like with you don't know exactly what she's planning to do, but there's definitely
Actually, no. I'm just
this
going to
thing
come
will be
over.
heading. Yeah.
I'm going to shoot the one of the ones that are on the blimp.
Okay. What's the range increment on your bow?
320.
The long range increment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three,
Is it
3,
80? Is it 80, 320? Because it was two numbers there. The first number is the short range, and then the long range is the second number.
80, 320, yes.
Yeah, so it'd be beyond 80, so it'd be at disadvantage to shoot that far because it is the range.
Which means I
roll 2d20 and take the lower one.
Okay. All right. Wow.
So wow, 18 and 20, so 18 definitely would hit. Jeez.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You stole me a 20.
Yep, that's fine.
But
so
now I do D6.
And was it D? What's the force
Oh,
damage?
I'm sorry.
D6 and a D8?
No. The damage on it is a D6 plus 4.
And then, then it adds an extra
An extra D6
yeah,
for
yeah.
Yeah,
so go ahead. So it's 5 plus roll another D6 for the force damage. Okay. So it definitely thuds into it, but you can't really it's a little too far away to see how much damage it does to it. But definitely the arrow did hit.
Right.
So this one here. So
they've been taking damage, so any little bit I can do to help them out.
Yeah, exactly. They've been getting hit and stuff, so they definitely have taken some damage there. Okay. All right. So they definitely a cloud of them around there. You're in position now to fire. Sora, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna hit my apex and then I'm gonna cut the rope with my knife. Well,
Okay.
I have a dagger, so I'm gonna use the dagger to cut through it.
Okay. So you put one of the hammers away, you cut the rope with it there, and you are essentially dropping through the air.
Hoping to land on the big boss guy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. So you won't land on him in this turn, but you essentially are readying an attack there with your hammer.
Mm-hmm.
The dagger's still in your hand, the offhand, but the hammer is like a Zoom Cloud Strike there is getting ready to come down there. Okay.
Sure is.
Let's see. We'll see what this one does here. Yeah.
As she cuts the rope, the reaction. I'll
Yep.
drop feather fall on her.
Oh, that's not gonna work if I feather fall, Lucas.
Well, the thing that you're jumping towards is paralyzed, isn't it?
No, it broke out of it.
No, it broke out.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I missed.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so you feel yourself. You're kind of there, and you're kind of like there, and it's falling slowly toward there. And this thing is down below you. Let's see if it all comes out of it. I mean, it's going to see you because it's looking up toward you anyway. You are now sort of like floating down toward it there, hammer raised, and it's down below you. Let's see what it does. First of all, let me roll something real quick here. Okay, it is fine. So essentially, because you're right there falling toward it, it's just going to basically up there and claw and bite into you as you are there. You'll get an attack as it slams into you, essentially. So because you're ready to attack on the way. So go ahead and roll your attack with Cloud Strike, as it's going to get its attacks on you as well. A claw bite. What's that?
11.
11 does not hit its armor. So
I know.
effectively, it sort of like thuds off of. Essentially, as the wings are flapping there, you hit and it just sort of like skitters off one of the wings that's flapping, as it's kind of twisting and turning, and then starts slashing and clawing at you. So first claw, 17 to hit. Nope.
22.
Claw, 27 to hit for 11 slashing damage.
That'll hit.
As it and it tries to bite into you with an 18 does not hit.
Mm-mm. You got to do better than
I
that.
mean-
Maybe you should sharpen your claws, little buddy.
Technically, I should say you would have advantage since you're falling through the air and it's a flying creature, but I'm not going to be that mean.
Why not?
You literally can't dodge an attack while you're in the air. I mean, if you want me to, I will.
Especially Featherfall.
I want to be fair. Yeah, I am in Featherfall. Be fair.
Okay, then all 3 attacks hit.
Cool.
For a total of not much there.
I
Because
got
it
it.
only rolled the extra 1. Yeah, sure. 21, 30 damage.
I got
As
it.
it's cracked. Okay. And we'll just say it's kind of like you're kind of on it now, and it's basically clawed and bit you, and so you have essentially one of your legs it's in its mouth. It's clawed, and you're sort of like on it there. Yeah. I would say it'd be very difficult to pull out Sunbeam because you're needing a hand to hold on.
Didn't want to pull out Sunbeam. I did want to do the shield, but
Cool.
whatever.
Sure, no, you can definitely do that on your turn. All right, so Amethyst,
Mm-mm.
you see this happen here. Sora and this thing are sort of tangled up at this point. It is
Jim.
a thrashing with their limbs. Yeah.
You missed me out. You went from Sora.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go for it.
I was-
Well,
that was so-
you did as a reaction. That's right. Sorry, I totally messed up.
You missed all the wyverns out as well.
Oh yeah, I did.
Wyverns?
I didn't.
Manticores.
Manticores, sorry.
They're all swarming around this thing is all that's happening right now. You don't know what's happening down there. I'm not making rolls for that. They're just at this point it's all flapping and slashing at what's happening down there. Okay, so what were you gonna do there? Sorry. Sort of all happening simultaneously at that point. So
How far away is it from me?
roughly I want to say 70, 75 feet. Because Sora was 50 feet down, dropped to it, and it came up at me. It met her, so somewhere around 75 feet, 80 feet.
Sora's effectively on it, isn't she, really?
Yeah, she's kind of on it,
Yeah.
one leg in his mouth. Yeah, it's
He's having a ball, but it's probably not good.
eh. You won't have disadvantage on you next turn. I'll tell you that much because you're sort of all wrapped up with it now. So it definitely doesn't have advantage anymore.
I'm going to try the whole monster again. So I think I can.
Okay, that could be. Okay, it. So Sora, as it's sort of like, and it just sort of like locks up and freezes, and starts to fall with you in its mouth. as you start hurtling toward the ground.
This is going to be
Oh
a
no.
great story to tell back at the end. I
Yep. Okay. So
wrestled it.
As we bring in your ashes.
yeah. So Amethyst, now you see Sora, this thing all locked up there, it sort of like stops flapping its wings again and starts to drop toward the ground with Sora still on it. So that's what you see. Where you
She has feather fall on her though, doesn't she?
sure, but she's held by this thing.
Oh shit.
Could it
Yeah.
be slowing its fall down?
No.
No.
It
Okay.
outweighs her by like 6 times. Yeah, it's like this thing is like
Okay.
this thing's a semi truck right now. It's like
Okay.
it is hurtling out of the sky, dead weight.
Does it look
No,
bloody?
Sora, it's not heavily, no. I mean, it's got some moves to it. Yeah, it's definitely burnt. I mean, because it got hit by a fireball, but it's not. It's still very much intact.
I'm gonna cast telekinesis on it then, and just try to sort of hold it in place and stop it falling.
How much can telekinesis hold?
Up to 1,000 pounds?
Nope,
No?
more than that.
Wow.
I mean, Sora alone is over 300 pounds. So
Right.
this thing outweighs her by 6 times.
Never
So
tell a lady
okay.
her weight. Good Lord, Jim.
I didn't
I'd
know
say
they were
somewhere
that
around
big.
there.
Their tokens are the same size as ours. I didn't realize.
No,
Oh, that
this
one's
one.
bigger.
Yeah, this one's much like it's a huge size creature. They're all large size creatures. So yeah, the normal size ones are probably a good 800 to 1,000 pounds by themselves. This thing's
Right.
much larger.
But would I know that?
Look, I would say, yeah, looking at it, you would go, that thing is too big for me to carry. There's no way.
Okay.
You could try to grab Sora and pull Sora out of its grasp, out of its grip, but then, yeah. It says huge or smaller, but yeah, unfortunately, there was a weight limit. So yeah.
Yes, I could dimension door her out of there and back to the ship, but I'd have to grab hold of the carpet at the same time. I could do that.
Or just see what happens.
Or I could watch
Why
my
Sora
friend hurtle
fall?
to the ground.
But that. Never mind. Never mind. It's not my turn. And I'm on a
Yep.
falling statue.
Let's.
Sora's moving. Sora's like able to be moving around. It's just that she's essentially now riding this thing to the ground. Is pretty much what is happening.
Let's just do some damage to it then.
Okay.
If she thinks she's fine, then.
Okay. Intelligence save. Okay. No.
Okay.
So 23 psychic damage. What else does that do when it hits it?
It's already incapacitated though, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's paralyzed. Yeah.
Okay, well now it's incapacitated.
Great. So Sora, yeah, it's just at this point its whole body is limp and his eyes sort of roll back for the moment there. Just it's like flare of purple energy flares in his eyes for a second. Yeah.
You have to surf now, okay? You have to surf it to the ground.
Or just beat the snot out of it so that when it hits the ground, it doesn't die.
So Grib, yeah, you see this happening down below you there. Amethyst is on the carpet there. This thing is hurtling toward the ground there. Sora's like on top of it, like in its mouth. Yeah. You could definitely free yourself because you can't stop. It can't contest you at this point there. It just had you in its mouth, so.
Insane.
The ground is rushing up fast though. You do know that you're probably going to hit the ground on its turn. Unless it manages to break free again.
Okay.
just seeing the crowd rushing up toward you. What are you doing, Grim?
I'm yelling, dive, 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 and I'm gonna shoot this son of a bitch.
Okay, so Ale just sort of like Ale doesn't like go into a full on dive, but she does start to lower the ship down a ways, so the ship does come down. We'll just
And
go ahead
I'm
and do this
bracing
whole
for a
thing.
shot on the big
Okay.
guy.
I mean, you can definitely get advantage. It's not moving. It's literally it's falling. So, but you can steady aim because you're not having to move. Let's do this. 14 plus 8 definitely hits.
Any attack
So-
rolls have advantage anyway because it's paralyzed.
Yeah, exactly.
And incapacitated.
And incapacitated, and falling through the sky, and steady aim. So multiple versions of ways to get advantage on this attack here. So go ahead and add your sneak attack.
I am. I'm just making double sure of my damage. I get plus.
Yeah, it's D6 plus D6 force plus 6d6. The sneak, is that what we're looking at there?
I'm just wanting to make sure I don't add my well, I'll just roll the damage over here
Yeah.
because I don't want to mess it up here. So.
Sure, no worries. You just let me know what it is. Unless you roll like a god, it will not. It won't be dead.
Yeah,
But-
23.
Yeah, it's a good solid shot. You just thud into there. Yeah, and Sora, another bolt of glowing bolt of arrow of force thuds into its body. There, you just kind of see it there, and just kind of sinks in. Blood spurts up from the impact. It's still incapacitated and held, so it doesn't seem to react much to it.
I'm paralyzed.
Sora,
Well, with Cloud Strike, I'm going to
Okay.
attack with the advantage.
good.
Uh-huh.
And all your hits are criticals, which are within 5 feet of it.
Yeah, yes, it is.
So I didn't need to roll, but yay. Okay. Yeah. Here's this.
What was that about the criticals?
It's incapacitated, so any melee attack on it is automatically a crit.
Oh, so mine was actually a crit.
So
No,
range
only
range
if you're
attack,
within
only
5
melee
feet.
attack. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
even with a crit, I got a 14.
Doesn't you hit
Yeah, I 14 for the damage part.
with advantage? Oh, 14 damage. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
You double all your dice. Remember, and the Searing Smite also goes off
I
because you hasn't hit you with the Searing Smite.
right. Oh, I didn't hit the right one. Okay, I hit the wrong button. I apologize. I'll re-roll.
No worries.
No, it's still 14.
14 damage. How?
Because I clicked right. I clicked on the right hand button and I told it to roll with crit damage, and
Okay.
it rolled It rolled 2 5s and a 4.
Right.
Because it
So then
went
also
2d8 plus 5 is what
Right.
it did.
so then also roll the 2d whatever Searing Smite is. Double your Searing Smite damage.
Mm-hmm. I have to get to the spells for Searing Smite.
Because that doubles as well.
Hmm.
That's only the first hit. You did attack him twice.
That is only the first hit. You're very correct. It's
Yep.
2d6 for
Okay.
for that. So stop doing things that I didn't say to do. So fire damage would be 9 for Searing Smite.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
I hit him again.
Sure do. And you
Because
can always make a smite
I'm
because it
going
isn't the
to.
crit.
I'm going to, Jim.
Okay.
I planned on it on
I
this
just
one.
making sure.
Yep, I planned on it
Okay,
on
gotcha.
this one. Advantage, roll. 2 10s. What crazy crap is that? 19 to hit.
Yeah, you hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just double everything. Okay. Actually, I'll just say this because with all that damage dice and with that and what it's at right now, I don't think there's any way you can possibly not kill it. So, as the first one comes in, there's a flash of burning energy as kind of the hammer impacts flares with fire around it there, and the thundering impact as well. Did you also double your thunder damage as well?
Nope, I didn't do that yet either.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
just a
So,
lot of damage.
so, and the second one comes in, and you unleash the radiant damage on top of it, and it just you just see the it's almost like that thud when you hit something, and there's that shock wave that comes out of it there.
Hmm.
You all hear this thunderous impact as it slams into the height of this thing. Sora, you just hear bones shattering underneath the impact of this thing through its back as you come down on it. The whole body, it can't move. It's incapacitated, and then the whole thing just goes limp as it falls through the sky.
And for my movement, I'm going to jump off
It
of him.
Its jaws go slack. You're free to do so. You leap off. You're still feather falling.
Hmm.
There's this sickening thud as it hits the ground,
Ooh.
and just trees and stuff like and shrubbery just flattened by the size of this thing. A few of these have been taken out by the crew, and
Yay.
as you sort of float down there, you look over and see these things all then fly away as the Alpha was destroyed. Um, and it's
I'm your
and
alpha now. Get back here.
um, or you sort of like as this thing thuds to the ground, you sort of land next to it there, just sort of like drifting down to the ground, and you see the dwarven ship just land on the ground as well amidst a number of other bodies as the manticores all fly away. Some crossbow bolts go flying off in their direction.
I'll
But
shoot at them.
I mean, yeah, you can take some pot shots at them, but I mean, you can't. At this point, they are like pushing beyond your far range. I mean, you definitely can thud an arrow or two into them as they get away, but they all had enough health to withstand a shot or two. Um, so yeah, they're sort of like just like yeah, a couple more arrows, a couple more crossbow bolts there. One more of them drops out of the sky, but the last couple do fly off in the distance there, getting away. And everything goes quiet. The gnome on the deck at this point there is kind of at this point rushing up to the side, and um um I and looks over at you, Lucas. There, I thank you for your help. I appreciate it very much. I must go to our ship and see if everyone is all right. And with that, he grabs the other person there and bamps away. Very similar to how Amethyst does with her cape. Um, and looking down there, Sora, you see there's a flash of light and two like small figures appear on the deck of the ship over here. And so Ale, the captain, are we landing? What should we do? We're gonna put down as well. Okay,
Let's
good.
make sure they can still get their stuff moving. See
Okay.
if they
Yeah.
need help.
So the ship, effectively, you guys will be able to put down nearby them, check in. At that point, Eldon has finally been roused to help there. Effectively, they just have to repair the damage to the balloon portion there. It was punctured a number of spots there, and enough air leaked out that it wasn't able to maintain its altitude. It was because of the flight array on it, it was able to guide it to the ground, almost like basically like featherfall almost on the ship there. But it wasn't able to keep in the air. There are a number of injuries that are already being tended to when you land there. No casualties among them specifically, as anyone who wasn't a combatant got down below decks almost immediately, and everyone that was on the deck there was a fairly competent fighter or ranger type person. You're able to if anyone wants, obviously any help there, they do appreciate it. Fundar, the little one, I appreciate your assistance very, very much. You are all quite capable and rather crazy, I would say. But I appreciate
Not all of us, trust me. And I'll say that in
yeah,
Dwarven. Not all of
yeah,
us.
yeah. Looking over at Sora, especially, just like that one is crazy. But yes,
Yes.
and quite impressive, all of you, in fact. Well, I appreciate everything you've done, and with the assistance that you have provided today, to show my appreciation, I will give you. And he basically pulls out, he kind of motions over there, pulls out a ledger and writes some stuff down here, hands it off to somebody, to one of the little like porter type people there who runs down below decks, comes back up and hands you a sack of 1,000 gold
Oh, nice.
for
What?
for essentially um saving their hides, because they would have been torn apart by these things without you being here. Um
Well,
so
they wouldn't have been
I,
here if we wouldn't have been
I
here,
would
right?
I would also, if you would permit me, I will take note of this and log that you assisted us as well. And if you are in the area and provide this, and he's like, while he's talking, he's writing this whole thing out, without even missing a beat as he's having a conversation there. Um, and he hands a scroll there written in Dwarven, very, very fine penmanship for someone who's just standing there on the deck of a ship there scribbling away. Basically, essentially, you have a merit of a merit of service that will essentially, it's kind of a get out of jail free card for the nation of Coppervale.
A writ
And
of
if you,
passage of sorts.
yeah,
For
essentially,
when they harass us next time when we are actually smuggling.
I mean, maybe. So you can also mark down. Someone can mark this down or put it in the party loot, whatever out there. A Coppervale merit of service. Um, and so.
My knowledge of these things, do they have layers?
What do you mean? Typically, yeah. They would have a sort of either burrows or some sort of like carved out like cave like structures essentially in the sides there, and it had to be fairly large for the size of the thing that came out of it. So, I mean,
I
you're
say
scanning
that.
the hillsides.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
like we will definitely mark down this location and send out some pacification teams to make sure that nothing happens in this area again. I do appreciate. We do have military vessels that can be brought into the place and deal with what has been put here.
All right. And I'll go to, also I want to go to the larger one and start collecting claws
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. These
in
things.
the fangs.
Yeah.
You mean manticlaws?
Yeah. Your Manticlaw.
Yeah, the Santa Claus wants a Manta Claus.
Yep. There's also the tail spines as well. But I'll just say this: you will see that the claws are easily over a foot long. The fangs are a good 8 inches long. Just once you kind of dig them out there, the main fangs, the primary fangs, and then the tail spines are good like 14 to 18 inches long. I mean, they're a good size, like
Aren't they
and
poisonous?
about. No, they're not poisonous. They're just very, very
No.
thick horn things. As you see, there were actually some poking through the mass. The base of the tail is this mass of flesh about 2.5, 3 feet long, and there were already new spines protruding out there. They're partially coming out as you were there. They're not fully formed, but they're pushing their way out of this massive flesh at the base of the tail. But yeah, you can dig out some spines. So you can put down manticore claws, teeth, spines, alpha manticore claws, teeth, spines.
Okay.
And they could definitely be used to make some pretty nasty looking type weaponry. A little bit savage and primitive, but who knows? Some collectors would definitely definitely like them as well. Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. After all of that, after you sort of take the time to do that, The deck of Serenity's deck is cleaned up of any, and the slight damage to the rigging is already being taken care of by Audrey and Manuel to fix the part of the rigging that kind of got torn when the Manticore fell into it. They're cleaning up the deck and getting rid of it, getting rid of any issues there. Anything else you want to do?
Well, what about anybody else? I don't want to jump over anybody.
Always.
Well, I was actually thinking maybe we could find we could go looking for the caves. I wasn't sure what they were thinking about that.
Captain's like, I mean, we could, but I mean, I assumed you would want to be on your way for your journey. This is a matter of the military as such.
Yeah,
we have forces to do that as well. Though it could be a lucrative opportunity. I will leave it up to you if you want to rest here and go delving into some caves.
No, I think we're kind of on a time.
You're right. The time schedule doesn't end.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then with that, after it wouldn't take more than an hour or so to get things kind of up and running there. They have their own crew of people there up in there fixing their stuff now that they're not being attacked. They have definitely craftsmen and artificers and such on board their crew to deal with the things as well. So once things are all repaired, you're able to get up and launch off on your journey as well. And with that, we're going to call it for today. As you continue your journey, Ale, Hogarth, the captain, and first mate are all sort of in attendance there. As they let you know, it'll only be a couple of days, and you'll be in Dreadmire at this point, at this pace. Still on track, still able to get there in plenty of time. And next time when we're all together, we will be heading into the Dreadmire itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And with that, we'll call things to a close for today. Thanks, of course, for playing. Thanks for watching out there. Appreciate everyone. Don't forget, if you're looking for games, come on by our Discord server there. Link is in the description below. If you want to join in some games, you want to run some games, we'd appreciate you having you there. But with that, we're off for the day. Thanks for being here. As always, drinks for us, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye everyone.